make a girl a promise. If you know you can't keep it. They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck. Was I wrong? Don't make a girl a promise. If you know you can't keep it. They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me.
I can't with that face that you do, Gamzly. Welcome everyone to the Xbox Series podcast. Sorry we're running a little bit late. Headley has just put in the finishing touches onto our competition that we're doing towards the end of the show. So worth the wait. If you are watching on YouTube right now or after on YouTube, Patreon, Apple, Spotify, all the different places where you can find us, thank you for giving us so much of your time. We do appreciate it. It's the Xbox Series podcast, and there's been loads of games played, loads of things to talk about, so it's going to be a brilliant show. I'm joined, as always, by Deadly, Headley and Gamzly. Deadly, Headley, besides stressing on trying to write everyone's names on little bits of paper, how you doing?
Just keeping my life together. I'm very good, thank you, mate. Very, very good. As usual, struggling to believe that it's already Thursday, and we had a week off last week as well. But life comes at you fast, like we experienced with Gamzly's accelerating counting of time while he set a deadline.
Yeah, so you did hear that, yes.
Come and entertain everybody here. But yeah, I'm very, very good, thank you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I don't remember last week being a week off. For me, the passage of time is a little unusual. I kind of divide it into right now, living in the moment, and then there's everything forwards and everything back kind of compressed into one. So I don't really know how far back. People ask me when a certain game released or what I was doing on a certain year, and I don't know. It's all that's past. I can't remember, can't place it. But in the moment, I'm doing well. Gamzly, how's your week been?
Yes. Very good.
Yes, my week has been yes.
Yes, very good. I'm just really excited for this competition. There's a competition for this game? Are we gonna fight to the death with forks and spoons or what? Like, how are we gonna win this code? Is that what we're doing?
It's a straightforward raffle for all of our channel members. So if you are a paid member or a gifted member of the Gaming Arcadia channel, and if you're not, you should at very least like and subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, consider becoming a member as well, because occasionally we will do giveaways on this channel. So if you were on, if you saw the Gaming Arcadia roundtable that Asa, Darge, and Chris did the other day, it's another one of those, the same sort of deal. And yeah, it's open to all of our members. So I'm actually finishing writing out everybody's names on little raffle tickets. We're going to pull it out of the bowl, and we'll tell you who's won at the end of the show.
Deadly Headley, so could you just walk to the back of your room and say hello? Just checking that you're on the right mic. You're getting, like, it's not at its usual. Yeah, if you have a little flick through that. While we'll do that, so Gamzly, the competition is happening at the end of the show, but that doesn't mean that we can't have a fork and spoon fight separately for glory and honor and stuff, right? So you won't win any prizes.
I can't hold. I can't hold anything. So I mean,
that's why I'm so keen to get this fork and spoon fight on. Yeah, let's talk about, while Deadly Headley is playing with a microphone, let's talk about, I think you've been playing quite a few things this week, and some of them do blend into the topics, because we try and play our current, like recently released games and things, try and be on top of what's going on so we can talk about it as much as we can. Give me your choice of one of the many games you've been playing to start with.
Let me see the little list here. I know we're going to talk about a lot of Fallout today. So let's start with Fallout. Fallout 76, and I've been playing Fallout 1. Fallout 76, Eradication, and a bunch of other people in the Discord have been like hopping on it because of FOMO. And enjoying it. Some do not enjoy it. So 76, I jumped back in because I need to re-experience it, because I did not finish that game completely, because I put most of my hours when the release came out and it was in its worst state. So I'm going to re-experience all of that. And I'm quite enjoying it. I enjoyed it, like I said, multiple times. From day one, I quite enjoyed it a lot because I was playing with my brothers. And I went as far as I can go with that, dropped a few bombs, right? Killed a few things, stabbed a few people in the back, stole their goods. Yeah, all that good stuff. So I quite enjoyed it on launch, and it's very different, and I'm enjoying it just as much right now. I'm only like currently replaying it. I think I have 12 hours in it. So
quick interjection just to welcome our new member, Gaming with Passion. Is that Gaming with Passion, or have I got the wrong name there? Wait, I've got to click it. It is Gaming with Passion. You've already been in, haven't you? But welcome back. So thank you, Gaming with Passion, for the membership. It is much appreciated to have you on board. Do get in the Discord. We have a great time there. Gamzly, Fallout 76.
Been added to the raffle, by the way.
Yeah,
you've been added to the raffle. There's a bonus for you. That's not the only reason to join, though, because we have a great time besides that. So, Gamzly, Fallout 76, you enjoyed it on day one when nobody else did. I've never played Fallout 76 because I'm not actually massively into Fallout anyway. Skyrim's more my kind of jam from Bethesda, but Fallout 76, right? It was criticized for people say not really being much like a Fallout game. It didn't have NPCs. It didn't tell you a story through dialogue options and all the things that people came to expect from a Fallout game. They've responded to a lot of those criticism over time. You've said that it's changed a lot since you've played it. Do you think it's do you think the reception from people that didn't go near it or that didn't like it on day one is going to be significantly different now? Is it suddenly a good game by other people's standards that don't have your brother to play with?
I think honestly, by talking to Eradication again, shout out in chat, and this even though he pisses me off all the time, shout out to him because he stuck through, and I believe he's like almost done all the like added stuff and all that stuff. So um I got from what I got talking to him, I don't think so. I think you're gonna feel the same way. I think that it is definitely a Fallout game. Is it a Fallout game for everybody? Is it a Fallout game for like choice and consequence RPG fans? Definitely not. I think I'm getting that consensus from talking to multiple people that, you know, start to play it after and before the show. It's one of those things that is a different genre altogether from the normal Fallouts. I feel like it's its own separate thing and was made to complement and be next to Fallout until mainline Fallouts start to come out because they have such a big pipeline of multiple games that they're trying to create and make, and they can't pump them out at a steady flow. Like they all take 8 years, 6 years to make. So I think Elder Scrolls and Fallout were the in-between games to keep people's appetite in check. And it didn't necessarily work all that well, but don't discredit it for what it is. It's quite good. I don't think it's a great game. I think it's a good game, and I've been consistent on that. I don't think it's a terrible game. People are playing it and people are happy with it. So if you like community games and you like Fallout universe, you could find something here. There's something here. There's not nothing here. There's something here for you. So yeah, that's what I got from it by jumping in again and talking to people.
Fair enough. So you mentioned it being like an in-betweeny game, and for Bethesda and stuff, it was more than an in-between at the point that they did it, because they did a kind of hard pivot at that point in time to service games. All of their single-player games weren't making enough money for them at that point in time, and they were like so many other publishers. They chased the live service dream and came up with Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76. And then prior to Microsoft getting them back, they obviously pivoted back to the single player. But now we know they're going to pursue both. They've still got ZeniMax Online doing something. But what would you like the next Fallout game to be? Fallout 5 or Fallout 77?
Definitely not Fallout 77.
Okay.
Fallout 5. Like it has to be a mainline. It has to be a mainline game. It has to be an old school RPG. Like it has to be.
That's a decisive. Fallout 76 actually sucks. You can tell from how strong that reaction was. Not a Fallout game, doesn't count.
It's not what I said. But yes, sure, I guess. No, I definitely want Fallout 5. I want a different area. There's so many vaults around the world that are possible to explore, and I think Fallout 76, is done with that region. So yeah, Fallout 5, bring it on and give me a nice, like another location, and let's see what's up with the other vaults.
And before we go, we'll get yours in a second as well. Mr. Headley, I almost used your first name then. I know you don't particularly want me to do that, so Mr. Headley we're going to go with for the time being. But Gamzly, just quickly on Fallout 1, you've decided to yes. properly go back to the roots of the series and dabble in that. How does that hold up?
Yeah. Ooh, I mean, it's I think it's the first time that I actually got a little bit stuck on an old game, because I do go back and enjoy old games a lot, but this one, the control scheme on PC specifically, I'm not a fan of. It's very weird and awkward to me. But everything else about it holds up quite well. Like the story holds up quite well. The interactions, like how you interact with things, is a little wonky, but the things you experience the chat system, the combat. I mean, it's all fine. It's serviceable today. And it's hardcore. It's hard. Like I didn't remember it being so hard. Like you're just gonna get murdered every corner if you're not careful and think about what you're doing or saying to people. You're getting killed very quickly in this game. The thing flies off the handles fairly quickly. So, yeah, I'm not that far in it. I think I'm 4 hours in it. So not that far, but
Do you
it's
want to
still
see more
hooked.
of that
So,
danger and stuff brought into the next Fallout, whatever it may be?
definitely. I mean, okay, it's a trick question because again, from what I get to from community members, is that like some people, well, a lot of gamers, even from data, show that gamers are getting a little older.
From who? What?
We're in our
What's a dada? What's a dada? Is that your dad?
data,
Yeah.
you fuck. No, but from what we see in data, all right, is that the average gamer is getting a little older, so we're starting to have kids and families and all that stuff, and it's kind of rough to jump into a hard game and give it like a big long tail and a big chance. Like if you get stuck on something, it's just like, well, why bash my head on it multiple times until I'm good when I could play something easier and more as enjoyable or whatever. So yeah, as much as I want Fallout to be super hardcore and have all these survival elements and resources to be scarce, um, I think I have to find they have to find an in between, and that's always that's a rough one,
Mm-hmm.
find that in between in difficulty.
And Deadly Headley, before we go into the ones that you've been playing, we're going to come back to you as well, Gamzly. Obviously, I know you've been playing more things than that, but Deadly Headley,
Yes.
as you had to sit in silence for a little while, first of all, have you engaged with any Fallout media over the last week or two?
So I was absolutely obsessed with the TV show. I really, really liked the show, and sort of binged that over. It was over a couple of days, so it wasn't in one sitting. But there were many late nights where I should have gone to bed and instead ended up watching another episode of Fallout. And I really, really liked it. I think I've said on the show before, I haven't been the biggest sort of Fallout guy. I did play through Fallout 4 and finished the main storyline on that before starting Starfield, and I really enjoyed my time in Fallout 4. I briefly jumped on to Fallout 76, but it's one of those things where I don't really have the time to commit to it at the moment. And it's a difficult one because I get the sense that I'd quite like to, but I've not spent enough time in there to really sort of give a formal opinion on it yet.
No, I mean my whole engagement with it was I was watching Sidesma stream it in Discord, and it didn't look like something I was particularly desperate to play in the near future. So I don't know. Fallout 4 has its definitive edition console next gen update stuff going on. I think today. Are either of you planning to revisit Fallout 4 as a result of that?
I'm tempted. I think that the thing is, I feel the Fallout hype. I think the trouble that I have with Fallout, and again, quite personal to me, is I don't really have the time to invest in a Fallout game or an MMO. So I sort of feel like with either experience at the moment, it's quite difficult to juggle. And I'm still trying to finish Baldur's Gate 3. That's still on my sort of top of my list as far as playing games goes, except for all the other games I've been playing this week. I've got guys saying that they can't hear me. Can you hear me?
No, we can hear you. It's just there's a slight for some reason I can see full well that you're not in a toilet cubicle, but it sounds like you're in a toilet cubicle, and it's this I don't understand the science of it, but it's not quite right.
All right,
which is a very difficult thing to fix live, so don't overly stress on it.
Yeah. No, let's not overthink that then. Okay. Fallout. Yeah, I'm tempted. That next gen, that current gen patch, really. Let's be honest. That current gen console patch for Fallout 4, it has got my name on it. It's just not a thing that I'm sort of itching to. I am really, really keen to see some comparisons, to see some before and after. I want to know what changes, if anything, in terms of capability of how many mods we can have running on Series X at any one time, because I did play a modded playthrough. Whether or not there are any more sort of performance gains that we noticed above. I guess really, actually, if a YouTuber ends up making a pre-patch but with a shoehorned in 4K 60 mod pack / FPS boost, etc., versus what Bethesda's doing as of today, I'd really like to see that difference, because I'm interested to see what we're gaining specifically as players.
Yeah,
I know.
that there's a
Go on,
little.
Gamzly.
Oh, sorry, Asa. There seems to be a little bit of controversy with the current like update of the game, right? I think it's like 4K 30 or something. It doesn't even hit 60 right now. I think that's the little bug
So it's
going
got a
around there. Or am
performance and a
I?
quality mode. So you're pretty
Yeah.
much on the money. It does have a performance mode that targets 60 frames per second. I don't know what compromises they make for that, because there is also a quality mode which will do 30 or 40 depending on your TV, which a lot of people are reasonably disappointed with, because it is a game that came out on the last gen console, so you'd kind of expect you don't need to make those compromises on it. But carry on.
Do I sound better now?
Yes.
Far better. What was it?
My microphone was the wrong way around. So
Oh, it's
I had a
literally
bit of a
back to front.
nightmare
That's
this
awesome.
week. Yeah, I had a bit of a nightmare this week, and when I put it together, I must have had the mic the wrong way around. And I've not had this mic very long. Shout out to one of my best mates, bought this for me for Christmas, because he saw that like all the YouTube stuff was going really well, and he was like, "Bro, I really want to improve your audio." So shout out to him. Anyway, the ring mount that comes with the mic snapped. And I was devastated because I was in the middle of recording a piece to camera for Wandering Dutch. Shout out to him. We're going to talk about his showcase in a little bit as well. So I had to do that handheld. So if you end up watching that, please keep that in mind. Thankfully, the replacement part came for it today. But yeah, when I've put the collar on and obviously the pop shield over the top, my mic was the wrong way around. So rookie mistake. But we are where we are. We are back to sounding silky smooth.
Well, I actually prefer it the other way around. Do you mind flipping it back over?
Oh, did you? A little bit of ambiance, is that what we're calling it?
I like the
Actually, you
toilet
know
cubicle,
what?
just to
Actually,
add something to the show.
Are you still playing The Last of Us, or?
How dare you? No, I.
Okay, thank God. You could keep it
so
like this then.
I've dipped into The Last of Us 2 a couple times to play the
right,
roguelike mode, but I've not spent a huge amount of time there. I've not done any of the story, so I haven't done any of the cinematic storytelling. You know, the stuff that you said you wanted to obliterate the week before last.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no evidence out there.
Hands down, one of my favorite clips from this show. It made me laugh so much, man.
Yeah, but to get back on the topic at hand, what do you think about like the 4K 30 or whatever, the performance stuff with Fallout 4 last gen stuff? Do you think like we should have a little bit more than that, considering it is last gen? This is like actually the first time controversy does tickle my pickle a little bit in a bad way. I don't know what the hell's going on with Bethesda or Xbox at the moment. I don't know whose decision it is, but like, come on. At least it's not even that big of an upgrade, you know? At least get it running 60. But anyway, what are your
thoughts on it, Headley?
So the upgrade has given us 4K 60. Are you implying that there's a caveat to that?
No. It's
No,
so
it wasn't.
You were switching your microphone around, weren't you? There are two performance profiles, or 2.5 performance profiles. So you've got a performance mode, which is 60 frames per second with we don't know what compromises. And you've got quality mode, which is 30 or 40 depending on your screen, and presumably 4K. But that in itself, it's a last gen game. So the fact that you have to choose a profile and make those compromises is a bit questionable.
That is unfortunate, because I was under the impression that we were getting a straight 4K 60 patch. I mean, the proof is going to be in the pudding, and like I said, I do want to see the comparisons, because I think my brutally honest impressions of Fallout 4 on the Series X was it just felt a little bit Vaseline on the screen when you were running with it was either FPS boost or a patch. I think it was FPS boost, but either way, just didn't really. It didn't look great, and that was one of the things that generally I had struggled with Fallout historically, and that it just sort of visually was not the most compelling world for me personally. I know we've talked about this before with like post-apocalyptic versus sci-fi versus fantasy, etc. But actually, I really appreciated the world when I was sort of having my fun in Fallout 4, so I did end up enjoying my time there. But yeah, generally it wasn't the most visually crisp experience by any means. To find out that there's sort of another compromise made, and again, we haven't got the full picture of those. Potentially it's a 2K60 mode, which is something I'd be okay with. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, Gamzly, when you're looking into this and you're getting that rage and the red mist is dropping over your eyes, you're getting all angry. Who are you angry at? Are you angry at like Xbox hardware, Bethesda for not doing it right, or who's at fault, if anyone?
Man, I don't know. I'm not furious. I'm just confused. Like, I'm more confused than furious because I don't
Which
know
is
that
weird
answer,
because his
right?
default is furious. Like, normally out the box. Even if there's not a problem and no one said anything, Gamzly just comes in furious. So for this to come in and confuse him is actually, it's like a sedative.
Okay, first off, all right? I'm not furious, all right? I just talk differently. But, yeah, I don't know who's to blame for this. You'd think that optically this would look kind of bad everywhere you look at it, especially with Hellblade 2 and stuff, not like getting its controversy and whatever, even if it's made up, whatever. But you'd think that they would come out and nail this, especially with the show out, and they'd want to treat this with a lot of care and put it on a pedestal at its best performance without tweaking anything, too heavy. Yeah, I don't know who's to blame. I really don't know, but whoever's to blame, they need to just, step up their game. Maybe it's a really tiny team within Bethesda and they can't really, optimize it as well as they want, but man, it's freaking at this point, how old is Fallout 4?
It's 2015 it came out, I think. Could be wrong, but
yeah, it's a long time, you know what I mean?
Definitely the past. Like I said earlier, dates are difficult for me. It was definitely
I don't know.
Not today. I guess
so
if I were to speculate, my best guess would be, first you have to acknowledge that development is harder than it appears from the outside, and shifting this game to go from however it was running on the previous console to these current ones, and getting the best out of it would take at least a little bit of time, and I'm not sure that they put that much time into it. I'm not sure if this was a poorly thought out reaction to the fact that the TV show was about to drop, because they used, way back when the console was coming out, they used Fallout 4 to demonstrate what they could do with FPS boost, and that was a decent effort in and of itself with minimal effort. But then they've come out at this point in time and kind of done, so it's numerically quite disappointing. You'd think that this console should be able to do better with this game, just because of the age of it, because of the gulf in performance between the Xbox One and the console that's now running it. I would think it needs more time, and they're not willing to put more time into it because they want to capitalize on the TV show, is my best guess as to why it is such a minimal upgrade, as it were.
Do you think they have a mindset? Do you think they have a mindset of like, these things are a little, because I'm playing Fallout 1, right? And it is kind of timeless. You can go back to those games, still enjoy it with like old, outdated, mechanics. But there's still a charm to it, and it still stands up. Do you think that they're thinking like, nah, this is just how Fallout looks and feels, and we don't care? Do you think they think that really, and they want to preserve
There's a part of that. So
really
when Fallout 4 came out, people were disappointed with the way that it looked, and not necessarily fairly, because if you did play it like high end, it did have a quality to it that never stood up against the cinematic games, because their lighting model wasn't like it is in Starfield, and it has a kind of flat brownness to it that could look good in some circumstances, but not always. I think honestly, I think the purpose of this Fallout drop, the definitive edition, or whatever they're calling it, is close enough. Is obviously to capitalize on the show hype, and I think a lot of people that go in and play games aren't going to care at all about these performance profiles and the things that have been reported on the internet and whatever. So if you're talking about people that are like, oh, I was a bit disappointed that it's 40 frames per second and whatever else, the majority of people that they're actually doing this for are not going to know or care. So yeah, I just think they've got to try and hit the hype and ride the wave, haven't they? Or you'd be calling them idiots for not releasing something Fallout around the time of the Fallout show. So they've got something for you. Play it if you want.
Speaking of that, did you see the brilliant like marketing that they did? I haven't tried it out, but there's like these the phone call they displayed on one of the episodes, right? Somebody actually tried it. Did you see this going around?
I've heard that if you called the number that was featured in the show, it just screamed at you. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So if you call them, like there's somebody screams or something, and when you text them, it gives you a choice to like sign up in their community, whatever, and then it'll give you notifications, and it says like we'll contact you later and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting thing going on. They say it says something like we'll contact you in 33 weeks or something, which lands almost at the Game Awards, right? Like November 27th or something like that. What do you think about this?
I don't know.
You don't know? You think this is something?
No,
this is fun, you know?
It is. I like that they're doing it. I don't like to give too much plaudit for like corporate marketing, but you can have a bit of fun with it. And if they're having a bit of fun with it, I'm willing and engaged secondhand, because I've not watched the show yet and I've not called the number and I've not signed up for this marketing thing. And actually, I don't even know if you can do that outside of the US. I don't know what the number is and if you can sign up to this marketing ploy from elsewhere. I'm not likely to try, I'll be honest. So you can tell me all about it. Have you signed up for it?
No.
But
okay. Because it's all over the internet, right? It just says like tune in, we'll contact you in 33 weeks. So if that is a thing, then that's probably an announcement, right? Around that time. Or it's a release date and we get an announcement in the showcase coming up. Well, not this indie showcase, but the big one, right? Is my
So it's going to be a Pip-Boy themed Xbox controller in 33 weeks time.
Oh my god!
It always ends up being a themed controller, doesn't it?
Oh my god! Imagine people are like, yeah, oh my god, I can't wait for the next Fallout, and then like in 33 weeks, it's just fucking like
it's just a blue controller, like the theme of what he wears, you know.
No, we already have the theme controller. It's probably like the wraps, you know, for the console or something. You're like, god damn it, I hate this.
Replicants, Fallout 3 remaster. It could end up being that. That's something that's been rumored for a while.
It'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
I'd be very, very keen in a Fallout 3 remaster. I have actually just remembered. I opened up Fallout 3, but it was so late. I was like, I can't sincerely give this a good college try. I'm like, dude, I've had no
play
time.
A good game.
I'm sorry, bro. I've had no free time over the last like couple of weeks. Life has just been mental, and it's driving me crazy because I just want to play games. I've heard so many good things about Fallout 3. You said that I need to start with Fallout 3. I am also seeing a lot of noise online at the moment about New Vegas also being amazing, and again, haven't played that either.
Correction, sorry.
I would really go on.
Correction, 1 second, because I said 3, but they do have a point. Fallout 4 with like the mods for 3 is the way to go.
Okay.
The chat has point. Yeah.
So, forgive my ignorance here because I haven't really played around with mods for Fallout. I did at one point play around with mods for Skyrim for a little bit, and I found that I could start like a completely different campaign / storyline and do something entirely different. Do you know of experiences similar in Fallout 4 that might be worth checking out? Because at the moment, I'm reluctant to go back into Fallout 4 because I literally finished the main campaign almost a year ago.
You could literally play the entire campaign of 3.
In 4?
Yes.
That's crazy. Yeah, sign me up for that. That sounds good.
Do that.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Okay, I'm on board.
And I
do
assume
you know if
Fallout
that mod
London
is
will
on
work on the
Xbox?
consoles as well, right?
I don't know
Yes.
if it's going to. That's the other. I mean, I'm going to rely on somebody else that has more knowledge of modding the console version. But I tell you what, I really envy the PC players who can just mod the shit out of their games. Gamzly, do you
Yes.
know if you can play the Fallout 3 mod on Fallout 4 on
No,
Xbox?
I haven't. I haven't. Oh,
Okay.
on Xbox, I have no idea.
Yeah, on
No.
Xbox. That's
No, I
that's
do
the
all
thing.
that stuff on PC because it's fucking easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just more accessible on PC than Xbox.
So
I wonder if we will end up seeing the Fallout 3 remake or remaster announcement at the Summer Showcase. I think that would be a really cool move to sort of capitalize
Yeah.
on, again, popularity of the TV show, because I think we have like a bit of a kind of misconstrued perception of time in this sort of space because we're constantly keeping up with the things that are moving. But Fallout created such a buzz. Like, you think about just the number of players alone that have jumped back into Fallout. What was it, 5 million over all available games?
5 million. Yeah.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. And that mind share, that really important word that we talked about right from episode 1 on the Xbox Series podcast, that topic of mind share is really, really important for Xbox. So if Microsoft can actually end up getting that Fallout 3 remaster that we've seen teased under the wire for the Summer Showcase, it would be huge. It would be really, really good for them.
Yeah,
Would it would.
So 5 million. 5 million. So speaking of that number, there's 5 million across 5 million, sorry, across all games. 1 million uptick for Fallout 76 specifically. Like 1 million players hopped into that in a day. So that's pretty crazy for a game that's universally hated.
There's another point as well. I haven't seen the PC numbers recently, but I know Steam numbers get thrown out quite a lot. But the Steam numbers definitely didn't say anywhere close to 1 million playing at any one time. And that really does speak volumes about the amount of players that we don't see, because we're not given all of those numbers. We're not given those player counts on a regular basis.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that this wasn't the case, because I actually think that if we saw a notable uptick in Halo players following the popularity of the season 2 of the TV show, because it did do objectively very well, I think we would have known about it. So I wonder what that speaks to. Partly, first of all, in terms of how well executed the Halo TV show was, because as much as I've touted about how brilliant I thought season 2 was, it didn't scratch Fallout. Like, Fallout was a next level of good TV. And Halo, as much as I enjoyed it, like, I can't put them on the same level. So I wonder if Microsoft will learn anything from that. I hope that they do. And then there was another point, but it sort of left my brain briefly. Yes, we don't know what happened with Halo numbers. Oh yeah, that was it. I wonder if the bingeable option for Fallout may have had a greater impact on hype for games as well, because instead of being fed it bit by bit, you get to absorb the whole thing in one sitting, crave more, and then go, right, where can I get my next fix? I'm going to go and check out the games. And I wonder if maybe that's something that Microsoft should consider when they think about marketing for Halo Season 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really quick on that. I think, I mean, there's that definitely a thing. You hit on that. I was wondering the same thing. It's like, if this didn't happen, right? If they stalled it out for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, would people still have an appetite to pick it up later? Right? It gives an illusion that it's been out for a long time and hype dies out and blah blah blah. But you're right. It's almost like you're playing the second season of Fallout if you pick up one of these games, right? It's very interesting that you said that. Anyway, Asa, hi buddy.
Yeah, I'm like I'm a little bit immune to the FOMO and the hype that goes around them. Not Fallout specifically, but like all of the other TV ones, so Cyberpunk and Halo and all of those. can watch the series in my own time. I don't watch them when they come out because I'm not that enthusiastic for them. So I watch them in my own time when the entirety of the series is there, and they don't compel me to go and play the games even if I like the series. And I don't know why that is, but I engage with them very
That's fair
separately.
enough.
So the Cyberpunk
Yeah.
like anime thing was pretty good, but I didn't then go and play Cyberpunk off the back of it because I already knew what Cyberpunk was. I already played it. Game first, then series for me. So I have not watched Fallout yet, and I intend to, but I intend to finish. I've not finished the Halo series yet. I'm going to get through Series 1 and Series 2 of that. I'm going to watch Shogun before I watch Fallout. I've watched 5 episodes of Season 1 of Halo. 5 episodes of Season 1.
Oh no.
Are you ready to kick me off this show yet, or not quite?
I
That's-
mean, we love you. We just hate the show.
I got really aggravated. Like I got upset enough that I had to make like disgruntled noises that my wife was like, "Oh, disgruntled noises." During it was like season 3, and it's not spoilers for the show, but you just got characters talking about how Master Chief was always the strongest and the fastest and all of these kind of things, and I was like, I'm furious. You're almost directly contradicting word for word what they say about the Chief, and I hate this. And then you get to episode 4 and it's like somebody different was involved in the show, and almost they don't correct it, but then it's like they remembered what it's supposed to be more so. And then they're still working with what the show has done up to that point, but it's suddenly more tolerable. I don't know, it's a weird one. I'm not hating it, but it's not
interested.
Halo.
Yeah, I'm interested to get your thoughts after season 2, because I think like there are, and again, it's not really spoilery, there are some like direct video game specific references, like the first person POV. Even I cringed a little bit, like when you hear the shield recharging. There was something about that just
I like
they
that,
tried
yeah.
to. I think the shield recharging was okay. The POV stuff, the Cortana, I know how the game is played line made me want to die. I hated that. There were a couple like bits of writing in that first season that just sort of made me cringe a little bit.
But there is a Marine that gets blown up by a needler that makes it all worthwhile.
That was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
You-
that actually, yeah.
You were talking about this as you're saying all of this. I really get frustrated because I don't know what they were thinking specifically to take Chief now, and I more and more I'm thinking, man, if they wanted to tell their own story and they wanted to tell a Halo story and they had no recollection of any of these video games, why not have Chief as this
Legend.
force that you don't see, right?
Mm.
And you just do the thing that Fallout does, where it's just like, this world is special. The character themselves are not really necessarily special. It's like the world itself, and then like take characters and put them along, like guide them through the world, and that's a good enough story, right? And you don't necessarily need, as soon as you tie a loved character that's so difficult to portray, you're already asking for a big slap in the face, right?
They could have featured the actual strongest, fastest Spartan trying to live up to the reputation of the Chief who's off.
Yes,
heroically, yeah.
exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I quite
Yeah,
like
me
that.
too.
That's good.
Yeah, that would be awesome, right? Because my
good.
gripe with Last of Us, and this is not console wars, okay? I freaking love the Last
Shit.
of Us TV show. No, I swear. I love the Last of Us TV show. I actually got my girlfriend in it. Cleo loves that series, and we're waiting for it, season 2, very patiently. I felt it with them too, where I'm just like, I love everything they're doing with the characters. Like they nail them, right? But they forget entirely about the world. They're just doing character stories, like little tiny
2
sections
zombies in
of
the whole
character
series, yeah.
story. Huh?
Got like 2 zombie encounters in the whole series or something. Like,
But that's exactly right. And they just completely forget about this world that you could just take any characters and put them along the Last of Us world and tell a great story. Like Bill, the Bill storyline. That was all separate and bullshit. And it was great. Why not just do a whole cast of that? and take us along a story. It doesn't have to be Joel, you know. I have Joel. It doesn't have to be Ellie and stuff. So I mean, but anyway,
I really liked the Last of Us TV show, and
me too.
Because I was still fairly new to the Last of Us story when the TV show came out, because I didn't play it. Was it 2013 when it first came out?
Maybe
2013, because they took then.
It's not today.
Something like that. It's a while ago. The point is, I didn't play it on the PS3. I didn't have a PS3, didn't have a PS4. So my first experience of playing The Last of Us, and it was an unspoiled one largely, was playing part 1 remade on the PS5, and I loved it. So much so that I then was really, really excited about getting the second one, played through that, and then the TV show came out, and I just basically 2023 was just, or 2022/23 was just like a wall of really, really liking The Last of Us. Whereas if you maybe if you weren't new to that, I don't know, it's weird. I was sort of new to it and also kind of coherent with it, but I couldn't call myself like a long-term fan that had already sort of attached myself to this world and maybe looking for something different. So in terms of how it was executed, I wanted that sort of almost shot for shot retelling, and I was looking for that in places because that's what I wanted from that experience specifically. But it would be interesting to see HBO try and build out on that world, maybe under the guidance of Neil Druckmann, and just sort of explore how else they can expand that universe beyond it just being a story about Joel and Ellie, because we don't necessarily know. I appreciate this is an Xbox podcast and we're talking about a PlayStation IP, but fuck it, we all like video games.
And it's all TV. That's weird. Sounds like the Xbox One.
So we know that Last of Us Season 2, the TV show, is in production at the moment. We don't know how far into The Last of Us Part 2 that's going to go, because there is the possibility, with Part 2 being a much longer game, that could get split over more than one season. But what then happens if they haven't got another game? So if it turns out that Naughty Dog aren't currently working on The Last of Us Part 3, or that ends up exceeding, or the TV show overtakes the game, similar to like what we saw with Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones did, and absolutely shit the bed. Be like, I don't know,
just fucking make it up, and yeah.
That was terrifying, man. That sucked.
It was HBO as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh man. Let's stay away from that idea, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not. Yeah. One thing that I don't do on this show, really, that I should, and people ask for it, is I don't really do timestamps. But just for clarity, right now, I think the current topic is if Deadly Headley has played Fallout as a result of the TV show and stuff. So we're just getting into this right at the start of the show before asking what Deadly Headley has been playing. So I think I'm going to just pull it back a little bit and get back to that little show intro and find out. Oh, it's been like best part of an hour, which is fine. This is good. Everyone likes a good chat, right? You all like a good chat.
Oh my god, an hour! Oh my
you mentioned halfway through that you were saying you've not had time. Yeah, well, yeah. You mentioned that you hadn't had much time to play games over the last couple of weeks, though. But you have been playing a little bit, haven't you? What have you been playing this week?
Yeah, so the main one that I've had some time to enjoy this week has been Tales of Kenzera, which I'm really enjoying. I've only put in sort of an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Basically just sort of leisurely played through like the first sort of level and a half of tutorial stuff. And yeah, just sort of gotten a feel for the game. I've really been enjoying that. I have also been playing some Halo Infinite, a little bit of that. Largely campaign, actually. So there is shout out to him, Hidden Xperia, the Halo content creator, put out a video talking about sort of really like 3 years on, what do we think of the campaign, where should it have gone, what went wrong, what went right, etc., etc. And it kind of just gave me this craving to go back into the campaign. I did come away with a couple of complaints though, and I'm kind of I'm leaning towards what I think 343 has to ditch the open world model going forward. I think it should go back to a more sort of linear campaign led experience, because it just sort of misses so much. Yeah, it really does. And even like something that really kind of bugged me as a player who hadn't touched Halo Infinite's campaign in over a year, had 4 separate save slots. One was sort of a campaign on normal, basically finished, or actually finished, and could go into sort of doing open world stuff. But I think I was in the middle of a mission. It was a heroic playthrough, a legendary playthrough, and a co-op playthrough. And I couldn't remember really where I was on any of them, but I jumped into the legendary one and got my ass handed to me over and over again, and sort of rage quit and went back to heroic. That was a low moment for Deadly Headley. And then I found myself wanting to try and play a different mission, and it's really annoying how difficult that is to do in Halo Infinite versus any of the other games. So if you jump back into Halo Infinite fresh after a long period of time, don't know where you are in any of your saves, you can't just pick any menu, any option, any campaign mission from a menu. You would have to go into the game, wait until you get out into the open world, and then I believe there is some sort of mission select function. I couldn't even get to the mission select function because I was in the middle of Actually, I was fighting the last boss on heroic, so I ended up like finishing the campaign one morning before work.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Tell me, so like that's interesting itself. I've had no desire to go back to the Halo campaign. There were a couple of things that I did like about it, and I absolutely agree about the open world. Like, much as the grappling hook was fun to maneuver with, and a couple of the set pieces, like a couple of the challenges in there were fun in and of themselves. The game's best points were definitely more structured sections that had been built as more traditional Halo levels. That's I agreed on that, but you know, old game. So let's talk about Tales of Kenzera instead, because that is the one that you've got your competition for today. You're an hour into it. I've played a little bit of it as well. Probably also about an hour, and I found the intro, the tutorial section is 2 stop-start. Like, get frustrated by the amount of times it wants to interrupt me and say boring shit. And I'm not typically a Metroidvania kind of person. So is it Gamzly? Good. You can tell me why that's funny in a second.
The next game is yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Right. Yeah, so Metroidvania is not really my thing, and this is very much like you can see it wears its inspirations on its sleeve, not so much in terms of its setting and all the rest of it, but the game structure and the way that it plays. It's very competent, but I'm not drawn into it yet at all, and I'm not sure I ever will be. That's partly a me thing though, because like I say, Metroidvania, you send me back on a path I've already been, and I'm frustrated at that point because I don't want to go there again. I've already seen that, damn it, send me somewhere new. So, but how are you finding your first hour?
They're about to send you to some place new, Asa. You just gotta open the freaking door.
Well, that's
God damn it.
Somebody should be doing that for me. I don't want to open my own doors. Now, go on, Deadly Headley. Tell me about the game. What you've seen of it so far.
Okay, so the thing that I like about it so far, and the thing that has sort of made me want to kind of just play around with it a little bit more, is the combat mechanics in the game. So you have 2, they're called masks. You have a mask of the moon and a mask of the sun. They have different sort of combat abilities. The mask of the moon is more sort of range based, and the mark of the sun is more hand-to-hand combat based. And you can switch between the 2 of those mid combat. So
did you find much need to, though?
You can do. So the thing that I'm trying to get my head around is how I can start juggling enemies more successfully, because I've managed to unlock a thing that sort of gives me I think it's a little bit more spirit power, which is basically something that sort of charges that you can either use like a special attack or heal yourself with. Focus power, I think, is one of those. And you get rewarded more sort of essence for that if you juggle enemies. So what I have been trying to play around with is successfully sort of switching between the 2 sort of fight styles. I sort of at the moment I sort of feel like I'm kind of like whiffing combat a little bit and not necessarily pulling off what I want to, but I get that sense that actually once I get a better feel for it and really sort of get my head around like the mechanics and timing of the game, I wonder if I'll sort of get the hang of it and get good. Basically, that's what we're missing. We're missing me getting good. Art style wise, I'm really loving the art style of the game. I really like the essence of the story so far. Like, I've obviously sort of read up on the game director Abubakar Salim, who's heading up the indie studio that's running it. I think it's published by EA Originals, but the developer is I can't remember that off the top of my head. That's really bad. We'll come back to that. Actually, I've got it here. Give me a second. It is Sergeant Studios. So he heads up Sergeant Studios. He is also the voice of Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins, I think. Might not be Bayek. I'm really bad with names. I'm sorry, guys. That's awful for me. Anyway.
At least you look good, you know what I mean?
Thanks, bro. Completely lost my train of thought. Right, yeah, art style's lovely. The references to, thank you, Drake Williams. It was Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm not going mad. The attention to detail when it comes to observing and respecting like African mythology has been really interesting as well. So there's sort of some early mentions of like creatures that are found in the game and enemies that you might fight, or sort of natural entities that may support you in some sort of way, or at very least interact with. They are sort of pulled from mythology, so there's this real sort of sense of like a celebration of culture, a celebration of his the game creator's father, because that's basically who it's dedicated to. The story revolves around loss and grief, and sort of, I think it's quite a powerful subject that a lot of us, every single one of us, sort of does experience at one point, sadly, and it's a difficult thing to reconcile with, especially if you have dealt with it before, or if it's your first time. It doesn't really matter. It's difficult either way. But he sort of tells this quite powerful story through a video game, which I think is really one of the best mediums that you can tell any story in. Right from the off, I've noticed some really sort of powerful dialogue moments where you can really understand sort of what the character's feeling, why the character's feeling it. And again, if you have experienced grief, you might understand sort of why it is that you feel anger irrationally, or sort of think with your feet rather than your head. And sort of some of those early teaching moments that I've noticed some of those early teaching moments that I've noticed in the script writing alone, like just within my first sort of hour and a half, has really sort of intrigued me in terms of the ethos of the story and the message that it's trying to deliver. So it's got my attention for sure, and I'm really enjoying it, and happy that we're going to give a copy away.
I'm happy about that as well, for many reasons, but I am in a different place than you on the game itself, because I know that stuff on the backstory. I know where the guy's coming from, the reasons that he's doing it, and I love the like cultural infusion that's in there, but like that makes me feel that I should be engaging with the story, and I should be brought into it, and it should be making me feel things, but it's just not at the moment. And part of that is like it very quickly introduces you to the overarching structure of the game. You find these 3 spirits or whatever it is, and it doesn't captivate me. It's like I'm not moved by it, and that feels weird when I know what's gone into the game to make it what it is. So maybe that's just me being broken, or maybe it's just like it doesn't sell me on it that early in the game. I'm very broken, but not in every way. Like it makes me unpredictable. Yeah, so I don't know. It does feel good though, right? It gives you an adequate power set at the start that it already feels nice to play right from the off, except that I've seen very little reason to do the power swapping, because you can stick with this little moon one and shoot and bash everything. That might change as the game goes on, but it does feel nice, and it does have a lot going for it in the background, like reasons for what it is. So
I think we're about at the same point, and again, like the story hasn't really progressed much for me either. I think we're probably around a similar sort of point in the story. I think certainly it's had a lot of heart and soul put into it. But yeah, I think obviously we do need to see that full story play out sort of with our own experiences.
It's in there, and I'm not sure it expresses itself at least in the early part of it. But
Yeah,
well, I look forward to more people feeding back on that. Gamzly,
I'm super cute. I'm super stupid.
you're super cute.
Wow,
Okay, if you say so.
I'm I'm super curious.
I've got
My
nothing
God,
to say,
Peter.
but I'm super cute. Okay, fine.
Super curious. Like what you guys have. Thanks for throwing me off. All right. I can't wait to see how it progresses. You guys are obviously going to play more and more, right? You're going to play more Asa to like dive
Maybe.
deep into the story, or maybe okay. I'm super curious. Maybe we could pick it up next week because I want to know about this game and I love these types of games and it's my genre too. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that at another point. Are we going to jump into the next thing I've been playing? Asa, can we do that?
I'm very comfortable moving on to the next thing that you've been playing. Deadly Headley, what do you reckon? No, he's not there, so he doesn't get any say in the matter. Gamzly, absolutely. What is the next thing that you've been playing?
Yeah, so I've been doing something you might hate. I've been playing a early access game. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Ever hear of No Rest for the Wicked?
Yes.
Ever hear this? Yeah, Private Division, right? Moon Studios. Yeah, they were Xboxy back then. Yeah, I hopped into the early access, and I have a lot to say about this, but I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. First off, for reference, my big PC here has a 3090 with an i9 10900, 16 gigabytes of RAM. And I've been having a great time with this game, but a lot of performance issues, so I'll start with that. I'm not one to complain about performance issues that much, but it does kind of get in your way when you're a Souls-like game, right? But on the same note there, the developers are highly like mobile with this game. They're like really quick to fix things. So they already had 3 patches, like 3 big patches in the span of time that I've been playing it. I'm just loving this game. Is this game on your radar? I know you guys talked about it on the round table, but
This game is absolutely on my radar. There's not like a chance that I'm gonna skip it at the point that it actually comes out.
Okay, so I in the Discord I have like this little preview that I put on the leveling system and whatever. I have a lot to do to make that little thread and preview more in
You're
depth,
like Tony. You put a placeholder on, didn't you? This is really minor and not of interest to most people on the podcast, but when you go onto that forum and you put a placeholder for the review that you want to do, that's the last I see of it. Because it doesn't notify me when you go in and edit your post. So
oh no, I didn't.
I've got these multiple reviews from people to go and catch up on.
I didn't update it. I did the initial thing and I haven't updated it completely yet. I just talk about the leveling. So let's talk about the leveling a little bit. I'm gonna draw a little bit of lines between Diablo and Diablo, whatever the fuck, all right, you call it. Don't at me with this stuff. Diablo and Elden Ring. I chose those two because it is very much Elden Ring with the single stat increases. So this is old school. Like, it reminds me of old school Diablo, so Diablo 1, where you would have to, like, every single point you put in a stat, so strength, intelligence, whatever, every level you get a point. And if you put a point in, that's, you could be a barbarian but have wisdom and completely fuck up and, and never kill anything in your life. So you could do that in this game, right? It's very individual stat heavy. Then you have tons of weapons that have these little magical runes on them that ties you to spells. It's almost like a Guild Wars 2 type of system if you played with Guild Wars 2 ever. So there's a lot of diverse things you can do. You can be a rogue with a fireball, right? Maybe your fireball won't do a ton of damage because you're not upping your intellect, but you can have a fireball, you know? And they're like, yeah, sure, go do it. You don't have any mana and stuff. Like, Mana, you have this thing called focus that will be the, quote unquote mana to basically any spell you have. So you could have your fireball and have focus weapon that gives you a lot of focus on hit, and then you could just mass spam fireballs if you have a good build like that. If you build it. If you build like into strength and wisdom, you'll be good at dex, you'll be good at a sword and spells. So you could really do some diverse things with your builds later on. They are kind of generous with skill points because you get 3 per level. So it's really that, it gives you some options there. You level fairly quickly. Like, I mean, I'm level. I wiped out my save, by the way. Just full disclaimer. It wiped out my save once, and I was like 7 hours in. So now I'm another 8 hours in, and I got a little bit past to where I got, which was just a bit out of the main city, out of the first section. I'm loving this game, man. I'm loving this game. It's not too generous with the levels. It makes it feel impactful when you do level. You have to think a little bit for what you take out there. It has building mechanics where you could build your little city for convenience sake. For instance, it's a large city, one of the largest cities that you're ever going to see in these types of ARPGs. Very big with multiple things to access, and your little rest place is above a tower, and it's quite tedious to get there at first, but then like one of the upgrades is like you can build a path, like a secret path door on the bottom of the city, so you could just like easy access, and then it'll give you like other buffs as well with it. So it's quite interesting. They have like building mechanics in there for that type of stuff. Man, there's just so much to talk about this game. Exploration is super rewarding. Everything refreshes in time, so enemies and chests and loot and building materials all refresh within an hour. I'm pretty sure you have to rest though in a bed or something to get enemies a little bit faster. So it's on a real clock kind of respawn time. It's not
So do you reckon
like bonfires, like people are calling this like a Souls-like game. I think it's only a Souls-like game in perspective of like difficulty, right? The bonfires, like, yeah, there's bonfires everywhere, there's save points everywhere, but it's just to do that, right? Fast travel, save, you don't have souls that you drop or anything like that. If you die, the worst thing that happens is it hits your durability and you have to repair. That's all that happens there. It's very Diablo-like in that area.
have they
Yeah, you had a
mentioned the
question.
kind of time frame for early access when this thing is actually coming out for people like me?
Ooh, no, I don't know. That's a good question. I should know that, but I
Does
don't
it
think
feel
so.
when you play it? Does it feel relatively like it could be close, or does it feel a long way off of release?
Ew. As I said, they're updating very quickly. So kudos to them. It does feel a little bit more stable. They're doing like live. This feels early access. I guess maybe half a year. Half a year's like a few
Are you finding
months.
that you come across? So sometimes in an early access game, you'll come across like you'll know there's something you want to do, and you'll duck into the menu, and it'll be like feature coming soon or whatever. Is it feeling like it's kind of feature complete, or is it?
Yeah,
missing loads?
No, it feels complete in that area. Like they have a lot of cool systems. They have their quest systems fully there. They have their challenge systems fully there. They have the building system, like I was talking about, fully there, like upgrading your inn and what does that do, etc., etc. The thing I think is missing is the PvP stuff, but I haven't run into that. That's something I've been reading. But everything else around this game seems to be there. They're just really using the feedback to optimize and scale certain things, like respawn times, fixing the servers, having them stable, bug fixes. Like for instance, every time I would walk out of the city, um, the bridge would disappear. Like every time. Like just to get from one place to the other, the bridge wouldn't be there and then it would pop back in. And that was consistent until like a few hours later, boom, patch. and then I would walk back in, and it would be perfectly fine. So they're moving really quick and identifying a lot of things really quickly. So kudos to them. So yeah, to answer that question, it seems very much feature complete, but they're really tweaking a lot of the back end stuff, and I think that's a few months away at least. Yeah, you can
Fair
bet a
enough.
few months away. Yeah.
While we are live, happening right now, apparently, so Microsoft have had their quarterly financials have come out while we've been doing this show.
Oh.
I'm not a financials kind of person, so we're not gonna overly dwell on it. But no, you're not. We like games, not Microsoft's bottom line.
Yes.
But Lethal Migraine is putting some interesting stuff in there, and basically, like, everything's up and doing well. Gaming is up in predictable ways because they have included the Activision Blizzard King revenues in there. So big numbers everywhere, much celebration. Not sure, without digging into it properly, I'm not sure there's a huge amount that we can go into. Replicants just put some numbers in there. So the gaming revenue is up 51%, but that does include, obviously, when you stick ABK in there, that's a pot of revenue, no costs considered. Xbox content and services revenue is up 62%. So the discrepancy between Xbox content and services against gaming revenue is a curious one. I'm not sure what the distinction is there, actually. Apart from hardware, and hardware is down. So hardware is down 31%, which again we're kind of seeing generally at through the lifespan of the console, and the fact that the prices aren't coming down.
Can I segue into something that I think Jazz Corden talked about on the Xbox 2 last week?
No, yeah, of course you can. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to do it anyway. So Jez essentially made the argument that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are essentially the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, because especially on the Xbox's side, it sort of operates in almost exactly the same way as the Xbox One did. And he theorized that that's kind of normal based on where gaming was at when the console's released, but understandably it sort of helps explain why we're not seeing that mass shift into current gen. I think there's probably a number of reasons for that, and economical is probably one, but also I think a lot of the games that you have sort of, when we look at like the list of most games played on each platform, actually a lot of those live service titles, they play absolutely fine on older hardware. Do you think that sort of Xbox hardware down figure is really a symptom of this current generation of consoles maybe not necessarily pushing the needle far enough? And do you think that will change with another generation that hopefully, possibly, should bring a more profound change in experience?
Can I answer? I won't linger on
Also,
this.
no. Yeah, go on.
You know what? Since you interrupted my little preview of games here, no. Let me take out my stat book. Anyways, oh shit, I dropped it. So yeah, no, that device revenue. I don't know what they mean by device revenue down 17%. What do they mean device revenue? And Xbox
I didn't see
hardware
that
down.
one.
Why are they so Tom Warren, device revenue down 17% and Xbox hardware. Oh, so Microsoft. Okay. So their computers and stuff like, okay, I got it. Sorry.
Yes. Mhm.
That was like the whole thing. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, the hardware down 31% is gigantic, but as you can see, today's, whole schmuck is services and content, right? Every company is going to services and pushing content, right? And OEMs are up, so that's shows you that everything's fine. As long as they know that people want to do things anywhere they go and access things easily, and that's where they're gonna push. It's alarming at the moment, it definitely is. 31% is a ton. It's almost like they're selling 2 Xboxes every day. That's alarming stuff, but I can't really see bad when everything is up by almost like fucking that's a lot. 51% up, you know?
Hmm.
62% up. They're making money without needing to really spend on hardware and lose money. So I don't know. There's some
I
weird
mean,
numbers here.
this
I
is
have no
what
idea.
Phil Spencer has alluded to quite a lot in interviews when he's said multiple times like the console market isn't growing, the size of that overall console pie isn't growing, and the challenge specifically that
Mm,
Xbox has is that it has a smaller portion of it than the other platforms. So to see it make up for in spades, with everything else going up is really positive. But the
mm,
thing that will make those numbers go up even more is obviously a bigger share of hardware down the line. But I think, like we said before, um, and which is why I sort of wondered whether or not a more compelling reason to upgrade beyond Xbox One or PS4, whether it be X or Pro, on either side,
So
hardware, more
there's
compelling.
obviously always multiple things that go into like the success of a platform and all the rest of it. In terms of the hardware specifically, like yes, the fact that the previous generation is still so well supported is obviously going to reduce the hardware sales of this one. That's one like major contributing factor. But another one is this is the first generation, and Microsoft like don't particularly work in a generational kind of structure anymore. They don't need to. They can be very smooth in their transitions between generations. But taking it as it is, looking at it as a console generation in the more traditional sense, it is the first one where prices haven't come down, and the model has always been people that want an Xbox Series console for like whatever the Series S costs. I can't actually remember what it costs, but whatever these consoles cost at the day that they launch, buy them near the time of the launch. You've got a certain amount of the audience that will jump in when a game that they want comes out. But the biggest way to expand that audience is to bring the price down. And it's always been that way. It used to be like race to bring the price down to $200. That console's going to run with generation. They used to say this was back when $200 was a different amount of money to what it is now. But that was Peter Moore that used to say that about the Dreamcast kind of generation. But it's always been the case that you need to race to the bottom with the console prices to keep the audience expanding. And that hasn't happened, and we're 3 years in. So
The opposite has happened. Yeah, we've seen prices go up a little bit.
Yeah. So
and this is they already was it I was gonna say they already showed some like Q2 they showed with that was the first time with ABK up, right? That was the first time they showed ABK numbers integrated.
I'm going to say yes, but I don't actually know because I don't follow financials very closely.
I think seeing this number being like as stable, if not a little bit more stable, it shows, and they haven't released nothing. They've released. Can I just say they've released nothing new, and all of that money is still coming in. So it's a lot of money. But
Point.
okay, I don't want to get into this because I think it's a little bit much and it's a little bit boring for the audience because they've been listening to many podcasts say the same thing for ages now. But I think Xbox has a head start into a world that they want to push other people into, and that's the best spot to be in. We see it with multiple companies that are now successful, like Netflix pushing everything to a subscription service and playing in their domain and see what happens when they get the head start on things. And I know it's not a one-on-one comparison, but Xbox has their foot in the door to be that projection leader. And they're gonna force people to fight their battle, and whoever does it better will be on top. And Xbox is here to play some games and get your attention. So yeah, let's
playing
just
games is the bit that I care for. So we're going to get right back onto that in a second, but I just want to pick up. So Luke Steele's come through with a good bit of data that I was looking for because I've been sitting there on Google trying to find out how much of this increase in revenue could be directly attributed to ABK. Like how much of it is simply you've added this company and so 2 + 2 is 4 or whatever, and how much of it is actual growth. And apparently 62% of the games and services revenue increase 61% of that is attributed to the merger. Basically, it's just add ABK's numbers into Microsoft. So the actual growth is more around 1%, which is still growth. Right? It's still trending in the right direction.
It's technically growth.
But it's a lot less impressive than 63 or 62%, right? So
you're right, but when we talk
62
about these corporations and what they're trying to achieve, all Microsoft, like, we take all the console boring bollocks out of it, and whether or not that is supposed to count, that is exactly what Microsoft has done
if
this
you
for.
take 62%, yeah, exactly. And if you take 62% of what their 15 billion that they made in quarters, whatever, so it's roughly about 7 point something billion dollars that they're adding, and their growth is 1%. It doesn't. They're still now really ahead, so it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're making a lot of like that's at least they're making 20 something billion a quarter now on the Xbox business, so that could sustain them very heavily. That's all that matters.
We also we haven't put this in the show notes, but I guess we should probably just briefly touch on it because we didn't get to talk about it last week. But there was that sort of that pie chart and sort of list of top 25 games played on PlayStation, and Microsoft had was it more than, it wasn't more than 50% of them, was it? It can't be. No,
it wasn't more than 50, but it was like a majority,
remember.
like a good chunk. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. They had a fair chunk, and again, you are incorporating in Call of Duty numbers and Overwatch, etc. But those Microsoft is counting those because that's exactly why they acquired Activision Blizzard King. I think the important pieces of information I took from that was the fact that Sea of Thieves and Grounded were both on that list. And when we look back at the sort of third-party decision and all the fan base fallout and all the chaos and all the bluster, like, this is why they were doing it, because Microsoft want to see those numbers. They want to see more people buy those games, and ultimately, when more people buy those games on another platform, what that actually leads to is more investment into the Xbox platform and more investment into Game Pass. So as much as I know it was difficult for some people anyway, I didn't find it too difficult, but I completely understand and respect why some people went, what the hell is happening to my ecosystem and where is it going? I personally, when I look at this information, I'm not worried about it, because Microsoft is benefiting from it. And if Microsoft benefits from it, it means that the people using its first party platform get more content out of it.
Yeah. So, and to end this, I know I have some bets in the Discord. You know who you are. But remember 5 years. No, just saying. I can't wait for all this nonsense to just stop. And like, we have that we have on the docket the overlay Sony thing that I don't really care much to talk about. And I don't really want to segue into, but I'll just mention it. I can't wait till all of this is over and you see exactly what other like these companies are seeing. You need to find money, and the way to find money is to go where the people are, right? And to find the growth. And
we're just seeing synergy between the two companies,
right? That's what
it.
Xbox did, and they're way ahead in that way. They're way ahead. And the competition will be pigeonholed in doing the same thing, whether they like it or not. Crossplay is becoming a thing. Your libraries are being brought closer and closer together. We all win. Let's just play some games. Speaking of games, can we actually talk about Eiyuden Chronicles, Asa, or do you have something to
I was
say
going to
about it?
insist, actually, but I was going to call it 100 Heroes because I don't know. Eiyuden, did you say? I was going to insist that we get back onto that. That's what you just said? Dada?
Yeah.
Daddy? What was it? Say it again.
Dada. All right.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about this game, because I've actually been really looking forward to this one, and I've got the impression you've not told me anything about it yet, but I think this is going to be a disappointing section for me. Tell me about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that right after I finish the No Rest for the Wicked. Just to recap, No Rest for the Wicked. I really love it. You should probably pick it up when it releases, I caution you to pick it up right now because, again, like I said on the top of the episode, it has some bugs. They're fixing it very well, but the people are being very proactive that already have this, that are already helping. You don't need to be part of that. You could wait until it's polished and the full game comes out, but put this on your list because I think a lot of you are going to like this. It's accessible, it's hard, but you could also play it with your friends very easily, and it's just a good time. It really is a gem. So go check that out when it releases. Eiyuden Chronicles.
He just tried to
Okay,
cast
so
a
this is
fireball
so
at me.
weird.
I heard him. You all saw it.
What? What'd you say?
You just interrupted yourself and tried to cast a fireball. You were like, "Oh, get that again."
I turned into a fucking Tekken character. I did. I was really looking forward to this game. So on the Discord we have like we keep posting like the Game Pass things releases every month. And when this popped up, I was super excited. I'm like, man, I can't wait because it looks like an RPG that I love. It looks like a JRPG that I could get down with. It's 2D blended with that really nice pixelated like 3D graphics. The back has like these 3D backgrounds that are really beautiful, and I don't know. It's been on Kickstarter for a very long time, so they really did this for RPG fans, and you can tell they poured a lot of love in it, and they tried to make tribute to the old school RPGs. I got some highlights to make it easy. See, I write them out on paper with my terrible writing. So some of the pluses, I love the voice acting. So if you're a fan of like voice acting in your JRPGs and you don't have to read everything all the time,
is it entirely voice acted?
Yes,
like, even the random incidental NPCs.
No, all the named ones will be fully voice acted. And as the name suggests, there's more than 100.
There's a few, yes.
so you get to talk to 100 of them. And they're all voice acted very brilliantly. I think they're really good. But on that same note, they don't really have much to say. You know, they talk a lot of nonsense, and that's my problem with that. But I'll talk about that later. The map is it's so minimal, but it gets the job done. It's really well executed. I love the map, like the actual map where you find things. I love it. You can't. Okay, so this tutorial section. You were talking about tutorial sections. This one is probably, if I would rate tutorial systems, I would rate this a freaking like it's a 4 because it makes all the pacing makes no sense. It makes the game look so dry and boring, and I'm not even joking. It'll stop you. So let's say there's a door over there 2 feet away. All right, your character is like, let's go do this, let's go open that door. There's gonna be a cutscene with it, with everybody talking. It's like, okay, you step 2 feet, you get out of the cutscene, you'll step 2 feet that way, and another cutscene. And then they're like, oh boy, remember I told you they talk nonsense? They'll be like, oh man, the core, it's so shiny. I guess we could do this. And the other guy's like, yeah, let's do it. And then you do it. And then you walk 2 feet more. And then another cutscene comes in. And they say more nonsense. Like, oh boy, that worked. And then cut out. And then 2 seconds later, they keep going. Like, it just breaks the pace every 3 seconds to tell you nothing, right? If it does anything, it highlights how beautiful the voice acting is because you're just still.
Oh boy, Xbox will be on top in 5 years.
Oh boy,
shut up,
Xbox
NPC.
will be on top. Fuck off, all right. But yeah, it'll just talk a bunch of crazy stuff, kind of like that. God, you just broke my thought. But yeah,
I want to carry on with your thoughts on that, but I want to get Deadly Headley.
Yeah,
how do you deliver a good tutorial in a game? What's the ideal?
Ooh. man, that's a really difficult question. That's a really, really hard one. I
Why
tell you
would
what,
you?
I
Why would you
did.
hit him with that right now?
That's a really hard question. I can't believe you've given me that unprompted.
It's just,
I really liked the tutorial for party animals and the way that was set up. So you're basically you're like a caged animal that you have to sort of break out of a science lab, basically. And I quite like how that was set up. I like how the challenges for that sort of opening level kind of escalate and present you with sort of different options to sort of um kind of
mhm.
get yourself out of that situation. Basically, man, this is a really hard question, dude. I can't believe you've done this to me. This is savage.
You know what? I
Savage.
could pick that up deadly.
Yeah.
I could pick that up deadly. You know
Go
what
on,
you say?
yeah,
You
go on,
say
go on.
you say don't fucking interrupt the pace every 2 seconds for one dialogue,
That's
like
yeah,
one
that's a
piece
good
of
starting
dialogue.
point.
That would be
It's a good
nice.
starting point. I
Yeah.
guess Asa, I tell you what did make Zao a lot more enjoyable for me. Have you left the setting on where you have to press A after every single line of
I
dialogue?
know. I didn't change it, but I know that I needed to because I did see the setting,
Change
and then
that,
when I got into it, I was
please.
like,
Yeah,
"Nah,
it makes a
skip for
massive
me."
difference to the flow of the game completely. It's yeah. Because it actually then delivers like an organic conversation. I don't know why that's default. Like, one of the listeners is going to win a copy of this game. Please, when you are given that option, just turn it off. It should not be on by default because it sucks. Yeah, that will actually help the flow of the game a hell of a lot because it
Mhm.
was night and day difference for me when I toggled it. Um, does that count?
Yeah, I mean,
Tutorial
it wasn't
discussion. Go
intended
on,
to be a
then.
savage question because there's not like 100% right and wrong answer. So it's just to get people thinking, right? Because it is difficult. You're making a game and
It's a
you've
good
got
one.
the more complex the mechanics, the more considered you have
Yeah,
to
but
be in
that's
how you
interesting.
deliver it to a
You know
player because
what?
they've got to learn.
You said complex mechanics, which is on this list of not complicated. It's so not complicated. You know, okay. In a tutorial, they're like, here's a dialogue, here's what you do with the thing. There's none of that. It's just it's just nonsense for nonsense. I feel them because what they were trying to do is not be in your face with those pop-up menus and telling you to press buttons and stuff. And this, it kind of feels like they're just like leading you through with, they're trying to be cute with the pacing and give you a story instead of like text to read. But they're giving me too much of it that it's not doing anything for me. It's not, you might as well just fucking let me do my own thing at this point. It doesn't make any sense. It's really, the pace is really broken with it. Anyways, let's go to another thing that leads into it. So if you could get past all the talking and all the unskippable cutscenes of this game and finally get into the meat of the combat. So in most tutorials, you get to at least fight a few times, right? Like they give you a few fights. For instance, these sections that I was talking about, like you'd go like I went 30 minutes without fighting anything, and they were doing this like walk cutscene talk. I didn't fight a single enemy, right? And you're like, oh my god, this is weird. And I
would
thought, oh,
love
this is a
Harold Halibut.
JRPG, so yeah.
Carry on.
I was like, oh, this is a JRPG. I should be. Is this a random like encounter thing, or is this I see them on the overworld thing and I run into them and fight? Man, I still don't know the answer to this question. I don't know if they're.
Okay.
I don't know if they're actually scripted battles for when you step on a tile or something, or actually random because they're scarce. They're scarce. I've fought 10 things. 10. I wrote it here. 10. I fought 10 things. I'm 7 hours in of this JRPG.
That is a slow start, yeah.
Right? So I'm just like, wow, this is weird. So when I thought I got out of the tutorial thing, I was like, oh my god, I'm out. they're like, hey, you're building a rebellion to take on this empire. That's a story, right? Go find these 100 heroes to be part of your mercenary crew, right? They told me this in the main city, so I was like, okay, let's go walk and find out what's happening. So I'm exploring the city, and then a cutscene happens, and every time a cutscene, you know something's happening. So you're like, oh, okay, I see this woman. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go fight this thing over there to the west. I'm like, okay, cool. And she runs off, and your character is like, go help her out, buddy. Right? I'm like, okay, I'll go help her out. I go to the west, I get to the thing, and here's the issue, which is combat, right? So this is a turn-based combat system with lanes, all right? So you have the foreground, the front lane, the middle lane, and the back lane, okay? And depending on what types of like weapons and stuff like that your characters have, you could reach farther than certain ones, and you can't reach the ones in the back or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So standard, they have a little spin on it, standard turn-based RPG, cool. It is the most standard thing I've ever seen, right? Beyond standard. I thought they were going to do something like cool with it. And mind you, this is 7 hours in. I could get better, but they don't really give you position. So you fight these 10 fights, but they're not telling you that you could like swap anything. You can't hop behind and for like cover or anything. It's just standard. And I'm like, what is going on here? I finally get to save this girl, right? This big boss comes out, and it's a mold boss. And you're like, oh my god, I gotta save this chick. So you fight this mold boss. And then they introduce the tutorial for gimmicks. So they call them gimmicks. And then this is where the depth of the combat comes in. They're like, well, here's gimmicks. So certain enemies and bosses, you'll get this side menu to the left that tells you the gimmick. Okay, this boss will go underground. Okay? And on the map, you have in positions, left, right, or center, that if you interact with the items, so in this instance, there's spell books with really powerful spells that hit the boss. It's like you can choose your actions of heroes that have a turn-based order, who goes to interact with the books. You press enter, and then all your actions like go in turn order. It suggested that, well, whenever the mole is in the ground, it'll pop up in one of the lanes, and if the boss is in the lane of the spell book, it'll get hit by a very powerful blast. Okay? Right? You're following it? Cool, right? Totally fucking random. Totally random. It's so random, and this boss 1 or 2 shots my crew. And at the time, I only had 4 people, right? Because it told me, go find people to band with. So I went to find this girl. It's the first girl I saw. I was like, okay. This boss kicks my fucking ass.
Tutorial
7
too
times
hard.
because it's completely random, right? Completely random. I don't know
Are you
where
sure
the hell
there's
the
not
boss
an
is
easy
gonna
mode
be.
for Gamzly?
No, hold on, I'm getting to it. This is a long reach around. Pause. Long reach around. So I'm like, okay. So I'm writing down the fucking pattern, Asa. I'm like left, right, left, right. Okay? So I'm like, shit, I'm dying. I'm like, shit, I did that perfectly. Like I hit him like 8 times with these powerful spells, and my group just can't live. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put this down. Fuck it. I'm so done. I put it down. And then yesterday, I hop on again. I'm like, you know what? I have a little preview to do. I want to do it. I get back on. I'm like, okay, let's do this. It bashes my head in again. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's see if I can walk away. I walk away. I walk away like a fucking Souls game, apparently. I'm like, I can't do this, boss. I walk out, and she's like, hey, you're supposed to help me. I'm like, no, I don't want to help you. And she's like, okay. And lets me walk out. And I walk out, and I'm like, oh, I get what they did here. I'm like, let me see if I open my map, if I could go to that little city over there. So I go to a different city, and lo and behold, I find a new guy that just just
anti-mole
joins me.
powers.
He's like,
Yeah.
hey buddy, I'll join you. And I'm like, son of a bitch, right? I'm like, I did all of this for fucking nothing. And you told me nothing. And it's the most anticlimactic like thing ever. You just talk to the guy and he joins. You go to another city, you talk to a dude that's like randomly standing there, he joins you. You go to another little place and same thing. He looks different, you talk to him, he joins you. And then lo and behold, everything becomes easier and you go on another quest. And I'm not even at that boss still. I'm off to my merry journey finding heroes, and I'm not even where I didn't even go back to save that girl yet because it was completely optional at this point in the game. And I was like, wow.
So,
I'm giving this a fucking 6. So
yeah,
next.
but beside that, so it's got like this slow start, and it was too hard for you. But moving beyond
No,
that,
fuck
do you reckon
off,
there is a
okay.
good game in there? You're gonna keep playing it.
I truly, you know, with my little monkeying around this subject and talking for 15 hours and trying to be comedic about it, I really wanted to like it, but it turned me off. I'm being honest. It really didn't do a good job in onboarding me there, and I'm a fan of these games, and I just the I see a lot of things floating around that the combat gets quite enjoyable with the gimmicks, because everything, like I said, will have a certain gimmick that you could like hide behind cover if like the boss is going to shoot straight, you know, or in the line of, I don't know, this person.
Mhm.
And it really starts to open up, but man, I haven't hit any of that, and it just really turned me off, because that girl was totally avoidable, but it's the first person you give me to go do, right? I'm in the city, it stops me from going in the central road, and you're telling me go save the girl. So of course you're gonna try to go, oh, this is the first hero I gotta go, right? And it's a terrible experience. It's like the most terrible experience. So I don't know, it turned me off, and I think that there is something good there. I feel it a little bit, Asa. I think it is, now
Mhm.
that you know, and you don't have to go through it like I did.
Oh, I'm gonna go
You
through
could
it. I
go
want to beat that
around.
damn mole, so I can say, Gamzly,
Yeah,
you did it wrong.
you're not gonna
I'm
beat that fucking
motivated.
thing.
Bloody
You're
well
not
am.
gonna beat that thing. Go,
First time.
go. No,
100th time,
there's
whatever
no
it
way.
takes.
Yeah, because I'm gonna give you the left, right, left. You know.
Nah, don't use guides. Never
Go,
use guides.
go. But yeah, you might enjoy it, because the people listening to this will take the hint and go find the other heroes, you know, to build up your crew first and level up and all that stuff, and you might enjoy it. But man, it just turned me off, and I'll give it another shot. But it's in Game Pass. I don't recommend spending the 49, because I just again, I got turned off. I think there's a good game somewhere there, but pick it up in Game Pass. Try it first.
I'm still looking forward to it, despite that description that you just given, and despite knowing that the opening is probably going to be like off-puttingly slow, is what I'm taking from that. What I'm going to ask you to do,
Are we really
Gamzly.
talking about a 8 to 10 hour or 10 to 12 hour tutorial?
No, it was 7. It was 7 hours, and it was 7 hours long.
But you heard how we counted to
At
30
my
seconds before we
pace.
started,
But,
so this is like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Most people didn't hear that,
That's-
but
that's
Deadly Headley
like-
needed 30 seconds. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
It's like 6 hours too long at least.
Yeah. Well, no, because I went through the devastating mole boss that just spanked me for like 3 hours, and I got fed up. But yeah, just
Okay.
it's a different
Right.
experience for you guys.
The art style looked nice.
what I'm going to do, the art style does look
Beautiful
nice. The trailer looks nice. The game is really appealing, and it's been on the horizon for such a long time that I still want to get to it. Our subject line for the YouTube video has one more game that we need to talk about very briefly, although I spelled it wrong, I think, which I need to fix. Gamzly, before we do, you have a little look through your document and pick out the best and juiciest of the topics that are in there, because we have already run for most of the show duration just talking
yeah.
about my favourite thing.
I think-
No, pause, read, Deadly Headley. Tell me, sorry, Gamzly, Deadly Headley, tell me about Halibut, because that is also in the subject line. We missed last week's show. I know you've played it at least a little bit, haven't you?
So I've only again, it is one of those games I've only played a little bit of. So far, it's quite slow, but I think it's one of those games where like you shouldn't expect any action. It is very much a point and click and dialogue and interact with kind of game. The thing that really drew me into it is the art style, because it's very, very impressive. It's sort of done in like a claymation sort of style. Um, I actually think I've been playing it in quality mode. I think it looks a little bit nicer in quality mode, and I don't really need a performance mode for something like Harold Halibut. Whereas for Zao, the performance mode on that is actually really nice. Within reason, I do actually have some visual glitches that I wasn't. Hopefully, they'll get ironed out. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. Harold Halibut is, yeah, it's kind of slow. It's not really my kind of game typically, but what it does, I do quite like. I think critically, it's had very mixed reviews, and I think largely that sort of critical response has been, it's nice, it's pretty, it's just really, really long, like way longer than it should be. I think you've played more of it. In fact, I know you've played more of it than I have because I watched your stream, and you've definitely gotten further than I have in it. What were your thoughts on it?
So my stream was the entirety of what I played of it, which was only like 2, maybe 3 hours at the most. So it's quite disconcerting to hear that people are saying it's really long, because after 2 or 3 hours, I was kind of hoping I was approaching the end of it. It is like, it's very dry, and it's the opposite of a Nintendo game. Like, people laud Nintendo games for being all about gameplay and not about story. This one has very little of what you would call gameplay. You're very much just traversing a doll's house environment that's not that easy to navigate, to get from conversation to conversation, rather than doing anything. So really, it's telling a dry British claymation, like, light-hearted but partially serious kind of story, with some interactivity but not that much. And at first, I didn't like it. Like, the voices didn't fit the characters very well. I wasn't enjoying it. The humor wasn't landing for me. And then by the time I got like 2 hours in, I think my bad mood had started to wane. It was probably just that I was grumpy, and I started to find them a little bit more endearing, and the story laid out some questions that were quite intriguing. So I'm at a point in it now where I do want to push on and see what's going to happen and see it through, but I do only want it to be another couple of hours, really. I don't want to spend like another 15 doing this, so we'll see. But yeah, has anybody? I know Pete's finished it.
Exact figure. I can't remember the exact figure, but I think it's in the double digits for hours long. And I think
Pete
if
said,
that was like what did Pete say?
In our chat, Pete has finished it. He finished it it took him 20 hours, but he does play games at a Pete pace. He said that you get an achievement for spending longer than 15 in it, I think he said. So hopefully that's an indication of like the length you're supposed to have at it.
Yeah.
Well, that's Harold Halibut, which is probably all we need to say on that for the time being, because it's very difficult to actually talk about that one without spoiling it, as it is entirely hung on its plot and its characters. So you have to have a go at it yourself.
Visually, it's really impressive, though. I do really like.
Oh, it really
is,
looks.
Yeah. But yeah, it's sort of so far kind of feels like more style over substance. But I think, as a visual experience in the form of a like Harold Halibut that we haven't seen before, haven't played it before, like it's pushed the boundaries of what you can do in a video game to some degree in terms of the art style that it's delivering and how that's been created and how crafted. Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Looks stop motion.
It does that really, really well.
Yeah, that's cool. That it looks like art. It just, I can't do that. But yeah.
I don't know how well it would resonate with anyone outside of our little island either. Like, it is very British. Even if they're not British themselves, I don't actually know where the developers are from, but
yeah. I can't blame you.
Yeah.
I want to move where you are, Gamzly.
Wait, is it a prison cell?
Yeah,
okay,
but in Canada.
Listen to me. Listen. Don't listen. I was looking at we're running like really close, but do we have any? I have nowhere to be, so I mean I could extend this a little bit. So I was struggling to choose between the topics here. Asa, can we run a little bit longer?
Go a little
I
bit
have
longer.
a little bit longer. I'm not desperate to leave, so yeah, pick the ones you want to talk about.
All right. Okay, well, I'll rapid fire these ones first. Overwatch Season 2, 10 perks are linked to Game Pass. You get 3 cool skins if you want those. There's skins for Mercy and stuff like that. Really cool. I
I
actually
must
saw
have
them.
them.
I wish I had. Huh?
I must have them. I love collecting skins, but I don't want free ones. Let me go and spend money on this shite immediately.
No.
Yeah, nice.
No.
Okay, Overwatch. Carry on.
Hey, listen to me, all right? They're perks in Game Pass. So if you're
They are, and
freaking
that's
using
good.
Game Pass, go redeem them, all right? The Embracer thing of like splitting into 3 separate entities is a really crazy thing, but we all talked about that before. I'll just put my piece in there really quickly. It was inevitable. They stepped into fire. They ate up too much that they could handle. They thought they had a deal. Didn't work out. This is their pivot. I understand the business of it. I think it was. I mean, the director.
My
kicks
name's
himself in the
Gamzly. I
face
understand
enough.
business, and I'm really cute. Yeah, we get it. Carry on.
No, listen, you fuck. Anyway, I'm giving my thing. All right, so I'm giving. Fuck off.
That's a good impression, almost.
We understand the thing.
I actually
Middle
thought it was
Earth,
Gamzly
the
first
middle-
time round. I was blindsided
I should
when
have thrown a
Gamzly's
dagger
name
on the
started
end.
talking.
Yeah.
the Middle Earth and Friends. I'm just want to comment on because I think it's the most hilarious fucking thing, but also terrible.
They're so
Yeah,
bad.
so that's
They're so
yeah,
bad.
it's bad. It's bad. I would have if I heard like Middle Earth Enterprises or something from any other company, I'd be hyped because I love that IP so much. But seeing what they've put out so far, they're just completely murdering it. And there's like a Hobbit game now, like this weird like Stardew Valley game that got announced, but in the Hobbit universe or whatever. It looks awful. Just stay away from this company. And Metaphor, which it deserves a little shout out. It got a October release date. Did you see this?
I did.
Yeah. So
So
Metaphor.
this is the Atlas RPG. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That got a 24-minute, I think, long YouTube update, like with tons of gameplay and information on the game. So if you want to look that up after the podcast, the people listening, go do that. It looks incredible. There's a lot of information on it. I think they have another banger here. It looks incredible. So it's on Xbox. Go support it day one, or try to. So they keep
Not just on Xbox, it is on Game Pass as well, isn't it? They did already. I think that was
No.
initially announced as being a
No.
Game Pass game. No.
No, never.
Oh no.
Not Metaphor.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check in a minute, but
I could be wrong, but if the chat knows, I'm pretty sure Metaphor was not a Game Pass game ever. It was just like a big partnership because it's big, right?
Mhm.
It's like a first big Atlas game to be day one on Xbox or whatever. All right. Next one I want to talk about. Headley, you don't like like you're not a big Atlas guy, are you?
I have not played it, so we'll go
No.
with no. But
Mhm.
they're out of
Do you
ignorance, not active dislike.
Do you think you're gonna give this game a shot from Atlas?
This is what's on screen right now.
yeah.
Mm,
No,
probably not.
no.
I definitely
Probably.
am. I'm
Because
not a
I
massive
know-
Persona fan because I don't like the high school setting. So this being like Persona style-ish, obviously from the same developers, and a lot of at least the interface elements are Persona-ish, even if not the rest. It's got that vibe. So it not being in a high school, that's a massive win for me. I'm definitely going to play it, Game Pass or otherwise.
Yeah, it has all the trappings, right? It has a lot of choice.
Mhm.
I mean, they had a whole like dive on it. It has all the choice of a Persona game. It has iterated on the combat to make it more like a little bit action. There are still sections that are turn-based and all that stuff, so that's nice, sticking to the core of what they do. It's more open, and it just seems awesome. Like, look at this art style. It's crazy. I love video games.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it's incredible. Okay, so just wanted to do a quick shout out to that. Um, as well as we'll skip the Ubisoft Montreal stuff and the accessibility stuff because I want to deep dive into those two things. So keep your eyes peeled for next week, guys.
I can breeze very, very quickly through Halo Infinite's update if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And then
So
I think we
3-4
end with
from
showcase a little bit. Okay, go.
yeah, yeah, sounds good. So 343 had an event this week teasing their new Banished themed operation, which is the next sort of season, if we're still calling them, but they're not really called seasons anymore on Halo Infinite. The biggest and most notable change for me, and unfortunately, like with most live services, does come with some caveats. There is a new currency being added to Halo Infinite. Basically, you can now earn Spartan points through free to play gaming, so you don't need a battle pass or anything like that to earn Spartan points. They can be used in an environment called the Exchange, which is something that has been carried over from Halo MCC, where basically you can use those Spartan points to get cosmetics that have been previous limited time events or part of previous battle passes. It's only free track content, so there's no paid content that you could once get as part of a paid battle pass track, and then you can now then get it from the exchange instead. So people who have paid for cosmetics aren't suddenly going to be shortchanged by somebody sort of effectively getting them for free through work. The caveat is that you are capped on the amount of Spartan points that you can earn per month, and unfortunately that does not add up. To some astute Halo fans and viewers notice that the amount of Spartan points that you can earn in a month doesn't actually quite add up to the most valuable cosmetic in the store. So they're going to make you work for the shit that you want, but it is another option for Halo Infinite players to earn ways of getting free cosmetics. So pros and cons in that one. There are some new Forge modes being added that I can't remember off the top of my head. Apologies for that, but we are going to try and breeze through this news. There are 2 new Forge aesthetics that have been announced for Forge as well. They are Alien Planet and a full-on Flood theme. The Flood theme looks so good. So yeah, 2 really nice palettes that have been added to Halo Infinite's Forge, which obviously in time will mean that when the Forge community starts getting their hands on them, we'll end up with even more lovely content going into the game. And there were definitely some other updates as well, but the biggest one for me that tickles my inner Halo fan is the plasma pistol now works as an EMP on vehicles again.
Good.
Which I'm very, very happy about.
It's a shame because I only just discovered how good the disruptor pistol actually is.
Yeah. I'm assuming that will still work as well, though, right?
Yeah.
So at least you've then got those options. But the amount of times I have actually picked up a plasma pistol in Halo Infinite to try and disable a vehicle, only to realize that it hasn't once I've fired or while I'm charging the shot. So that's definitely a welcome addition back into the fold.
Perfect. I will just confirm for the audio listeners that haven't got the YouTube chat fired up. Metaphor ReFantasio is not coming to Game Pass. Gamzly caught my deliberate error. He's allowed to stay on the show. Gamzly, carry on.
Am I like really close to getting kicked off this show? No. We'll see in 5 years when I'm wrong about Xbox. Let's talk about some Xbox Showcase. Let's end with Xbox Showcase, like predictions of what we want to see with it, and bring up a Wandering Dutch's little indie showcase, shall we? Deadly, you want to start with Wandering Dutch or shout out there?
Yeah, let's do that. So good friend of the show, Wandering Dutch, he's listening in the chat, but he is actually hard at work working on the show that we are talking about right now. He has put on a community indie showcase where he has picked content creators and has also managed to wrangle some of Aaron Greenberg's time as in VP of marketing over at Xbox as well. I'm not really sure what he's going to be presenting or talking about or introducing on the show, but I think broadly, correct me if I'm wrong, Dutch, the plan is to just show an absolute ton of indie games that are coming out. Dutch very kindly has asked me to be the new creator on the lineup this year, which is awesome as well. Very, very grateful for that. I'm really honored to be the creator that you've thought of when putting this showcase together. So thank you for that, mate. I've picked some really cool indies that I'm very excited about. Other creators will have done the same thing, and Dutch, literally right now as we're recording, is hard at work sort of collating and rendering all of that out into one big Premiere profile. I dread to think how long that's going to take to actually get over the line, but that is all happening on almost 70 games from Dutch. He's just confirmed in our chat. So yeah, a hell of a lot to see in this community indie showcase. That happens on his YouTube channel, Wandering Dutch, on Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific.
Good maths.
Yeah, cool.
I'm just
so
gonna
cool.
second that
Cool
though,
math.
because so Wandering Dutch's indie showcase, I've caught those the last couple of years, and they've actually been really good. So you mentioned when you kicked into the announcement, you mentioned content creators. Don't watch it for the content creators. It's nice that Deadly Headley's there and all these people are supporting it and all the rest of it, but watch it for the games, because these almost 70 games include a lot of things. Some you will have known about already, but some that aren't. You've got exclusives there as well. There are trailer after trailer after trailer. It is a really good show. So if you can get there to support that on Saturday, then do so. It is well worth the time. Gamzly.
Yeah. When I mean, more games for us equals a win, right? So go check that out. There's a lot of good stuff like Brotato. Actually, I don't know. Brotato's amazing. Anytime I get to plug in Brotato. Yeah, shout out to Wandering Dutch. He's in the chat. So if you're hearing this, good job on that stuff. Next, the showcase is on the 29th of April. It's an ID at Xbox kind of showcase with IGN, the enemy apparently on X, are Xbox's arch enemy. What do we? Let's just go with like 2 game predictions each. If we're excited, and we'll move on to the outros. What do you think is showing up here, Headley? What do you want to see
33
here?
Immortals. I'm still in the ones that they've already announced. Wait there, I need to look it up. I can't remember the others. 33 Immortals. And wait.
No.
Go on,
no.
Pick some actual ones.
Deadly.
I'm having these 4.
Cancel it. Take 33 Immortals.
I think, because I've been keeping an eye on this game, and keen eyes may also spot it in a certain showcase this weekend. I think we may be getting some information on Hypercharge, which is actually a game by a developer that GameOn Asa had interviewed quite a while ago on the Go Live Game On Daily podcast. It's been in development for some time, but they've been teasing on Twitter recently that they're getting really close to getting something out for Xbox. They've been working on it for a while and trying to get it to Xbox. The developer has specifically said how keen he is on getting it to Xbox. I have seen that, again, they've sort of teased that it's getting kind of close. So I'm hoping that shows up at the Idea Xbox show. What else? I'm not sure.
Gamzly.
Oh my god, okay. Would it be, is there a possibility we actually get Silksong here? Is there an actual possibility? Because it does say new, it does say updates and blah 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 on indies and stuff like that. Do we get it finally? Do we get Silksong
Nah.
dropping? No?
Wait.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I'm still trying to look up these 4 so I can make a prediction that actually comes in. I never do predictions though, so.
All right,
Wait.
I'll talk nonsense. I think Silksong it has to pop up somewhere. It popped up on a Game Pass. Popped up on an Xbox show for Game Pass. I believe was the first, or was it a Switch? I'm not sure, but it's been a long time. I think Hollow Knight Silksong should like drop in this showcase, or at least the release date. It would be incredibly awesome if it just like drops in Game Pass the day of the showcase as like an exit. That's my heart, and that's what I want to happen. And yeah, updates on 33 Immortals and no.
Dungeons of Hinterberg and 33 Immortals. Those are my 2 predictions.
Yes. Something, yeah, it just has to be something something interesting. I don't fucking know. Just give me
And that
Hollow Knight,
Lost
that's all I
Records
want.
of Bloom and Rage might be an interesting like surprise appearance.
I want Hollow Knight. Give me Hollow Knight. I'm a sucker. Drop that in there. All right, you done, Asa? You done with that?
No. It says Vampire Survivors as well, but that's already out. I don't know. You're confusing me, cheat list.
Vampire Survivors, it has like an update or something.
Another DLC, yes.
Yeah, which is awesome. I shout out to that. So I'm ready to play the second best game in that genre, which is Vampire Survivor, and the first best, which is Brotato. Anyways,
you don't even mean that. You're a little troll. You gave me your little ratings.
You don't have that list in front of you. I don't trust you have that list in front of you.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
You had Deep Rock Survivor was above Potato as well. So yeah,
it's legitimately a great game. Have you guys have you hopped in that yet?
Not yet. I do have it, but I've not played it.
Of course not.
Deep Rock Survivors.
Play it, you dirty man.
So I do a really, really, really quick shout out to the Xbox Earth Day initiatives. Super quick.
Yeah,
Yes.
go for that.
So there's four things that Xbox have highlighted in their Xbox Wire. 2 of them aren't really new, just sort of shout outs. So they've called out the Minecraft Education Planet Earth 3 experience, which is basically sort of like an integrated experience with the BBC, or it's like a partnership with BBC Earth, and they've got like some animals and just some stuff that you can do in Minecraft, with like a specific focus on education. They have also shouted out a project that they've got going with Seattle Aquarium, where they are using Xbox controllers to remote control sort of underwater vehicles to help sort of learn more about I think it might be plant life or possibly sort of fish.
They're finally replacing replacing the old ones, Logitech
and
ones.
2 other nice little
Don't know that
stories.
story. All right.
No, 2 other nice little stories. Diablo actually donated a whole like several buckets of maggots to a local bird charity very close to me, like literally not far from my actual house. And I thought that was a very cool thing for them to do, where basically they got they posted they shared something on Twitter, and they were like, for every 25 likes we're going to donate X amount of maggots, and I can't remember how many they donated, but basically the goal was to sort of donate enough food to feed rescued and rehabilitated sort of formerly injured birds, to release them back into the wild for up to 2 years was the goal. So that's something that Diablo and Xbox had worked on, and again sort of impacts me on a local level, which is something that I quite like as well. So shout out to Xbox for doing that. And the last one is Rare have revealed their new barn, which they're now working from, which is all sort of eco-friendly, self-sustaining, made out of sort of natural materials. Looks very cool, very funky, very similar to the kind of environment that I work in, being a creative. So it's sort of possibly less eye-popping to me than most, but it's very, very pretty and very, very cool. So yeah, go and check that out.
The barn. Want us to go and check the barn out?
Not
What's the
literally.
postcode?
Well, I mean, you can if you want. They may not.
That's weird.
They probably won't.
Hello.
Deadly Headley sent me.
Honestly. That's really cool stuff. So I made the mistake um, to say outros, but Isla's really angry with us. You know what I mean? She wants some questions. Asa, do we do a little bit of questions?
Yeah, I think
do a
we've probably
giveaway
got time
first.
for a couple, haven't we? Oh, and we've got the giveaway. That's really important.
We do have a giveaway.
What the people
We
are
do have a
here
giveaway.
for. So
It
let's
is
do
what
that
people are here
first.
for. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna lay a little bit of backstory. So I made the mistake of opening Twitter when I woke up yesterday morning, which automatically is probably a shit way to start a day. And I saw a tweet from a guy called Frank, and this was a tweet in response to a tweet about Tales of Kenzera being added to a list that Sweet Baby Inc. has been involved with, which if you followed that story at all, we're not really going to get into that itself, but the point is to Sweet Baby Inc. had some sort of association or professional relationship with the studio who made Tales of Kenzera at one point during the development of the game. So Frank had said in response to this, he doesn't need a list, and that if it has a black and or female protagonist, he's not playing it, period. I'm quoting, before adding that you only have yourself to blame. So I thought, in response to Frank being very stunning and very brave in revealing himself as a racist and misogynist on Twitter, what I've done is I've bought him a copy of Tales of Kenzera Zao. The problem is he's not going to play that because he's already said that he's not going to. So we are going to give Frank's copy of Tales of Kenzera Zao away to one of our members. And I've got a little prize draw here. So let's find out which lucky so-and-so is getting Frank's copy.
And
Thank
while
you,
he does
Frank.
that, hit the like button.
Racist
Please,
Frankie.
God, hit
Please
the-
make sure that you do hit
the-
the like button as well.
hit the like button.
So the lucky
Please.
winner is, I'm not even going to look at it. It is Isla. It is Isla, our very own moderator who looks
No
after
way.
us, has won a
No
copy
way,
of Tales of
give me it.
Kenzera Zao.
Don't worry, it's a digital copy. It doesn't make you racist or misogynistic. It's all clean.
Let me just
Congratulations to
Isla has
You
won.
deserve
It's
it.
backwards on my screen.
You deserve it.
Who says "suck it, Frank" in chat? Thanks, Frank. That's
Yeah,
it.
If anyone
That's
deserves
the
that game,
giveaway.
it's Isla for putting up with us all the time.
For
and
putting up with all of
listening
our shit and me being late
Oh,
tonight.
man,
Yes,
crazy.
definitely.
Right. Let's get when the celebrating is finished, Isla. If you could put up our first question, please. We'll just do maximum 3. We'll get through them nice and quick, and then we'll round off and finish. Oh no, we can't. She's busy. She's busy. So,
Oh no! Oh, panic mode.
Okay.
Brotato's amazing. Brotato's amazing.
Right. What are the Gamzly? We didn't talk about accessibility in games engines that much, did we? Is that something that you want to delve into?
Well, you know what? Really, well, to bring it up, it was essentially that accessibility in games, like in a video game. So not only is that pretty scarce, like the options, but accessibility in making games is also non-existent in most independent like tools and engines that creators have in possession. So something like 26% of game developers in the space making games on a survey said that they have some sort of disability, whether it's hearing, a little bit of eyesight, or problems with their hands. Yeah, 26% of game devs reported having a disability. So even making games is hard for some people, and it was just saying that indie studios are having a hard time since they're using like indie engines that don't have the tools for many things, especially not accessibility for players themselves, but it's really hard for developers as well. and stuff like Unreal and all that stuff is really leading the charge, and they don't know how to fix it, and they're trying to fix it and get everybody good games. So I was just gonna bring that up. There's a lot more detail there, but yeah, just 26%. And that's game devs. So imagine
Hmm.
gamers that have disabilities.
Mm.
Is gigantic. And yeah, we're working advisor, like they're trying to get advisors and all these good
Hmm.
things into place to build us our games.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
so. I skimmed over the article that you were looking at, and it said, particularly like you said there, that the leading engines like Unreal and Unity are taking steps. Obviously, they're not going to support everyone all at once on day one, but they are taking steps, and it is important because the more people that can make games, the more perspectives we get, and the better stories we get. So, all for that.
Exactly.
We do have our first question up, which is specifically for Deadly Headley.
I like
It's from
this one.
Tony. It says, "Will Headley be buying the next Xbox or be focusing more on PC? Question mark. Gamzly doesn't play games, so I don't need to ask him." So, Gamzly, you can keep quiet in the corner in your little prison cell because this is a question for Deadly Headley.
Thank you for the question, Tony. It's a good one because I'm definitely tempted by PC as a platform. I do want to move to PC at some point, partly from a content creation standpoint, because I work on a Mac at the moment. Shout out to Special Nick, and partly because I've never done PC gaming. I think the last time I played a game on the PC was probably Sims on the family PC before that packed up, and that was, you're talking well over 20 years ago. I definitely feel limited in terms of what I want to be able to get out of my games versus what I'm currently getting out of the Xbox Series X. And obviously that largely comes down to the amount of money that a Series X costs versus, the amount of money that you can spend on a PC. I'm in two minds about whether I'm probably going to end up getting both. Because the reality is, I like gaming on a console. I like the convenience of it. I like having it in my living room. Yes, I absolutely hear the argument that you can put a PC in your living room. You can game on a PC in your living room. That's true. I don't want to buy two PCs so that I can have one downstairs where I play most of my games on my lovely big 4K telly, and a PC up here where I can either play games or make content on. And until I can work out what that happy solution is, or whether or not there's a way around it, I'm obviously open to suggestions via either Twitter, or if you're in our community and you've got any workarounds that you would recommend because you find yourself in a similar situation to me, hit us up in the Discord as well. That's where I'm at. But I do want to get into PC gaming. But there's a pretty good chance that I will also end up getting an Xbox as well. I think right now, like the PC that I would get if I have the funds, and I don't, is it would have to go up here. It would have to go where I work. That's what it would primarily be used for, as well as gaming. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously you two have been on PC for a really long time, and actually, Tony, you wouldn't have known this, but we did have something in our chat about sort of the Xbox versus PC experience and sort of the differences between the two. It's a world that I don't really know. Talk to me about your experiences.
Well, since we're a little bit short on some time, I'm just gonna be real quick. I agree. As soon as they get a way, like find a way past for every consumer and an easy solution to press a button and on your controller and the thing wakes up and it's perfect and it boots into an Xbox like kind of ecosystem, I'm ready. And there's already workarounds for that, and there's already systems that sell for $450 that you can turn into a mini PC under your TV, but there's way too much steps to translate it into an Xbox kind of experience, even with Steam Big Picture. So there's many ways to do it, and there's always something weird to do to get it perfect, and it's not even perfect. So until they could find a way to kind of make PCs feel like a console experience, I'm gonna get both all the time, and yeah, both is the way to go
Yeah,
for now.
I come similar. I
I
think
agree.
everyone's circumstances and preferences are their own, and there are, like, much as people fight and piss and moan and tell you you don't need X or Y because it's not my favorite or whatever, there are good reasons for people to get different things. Your reasons to want an Xbox and a PC are valid, so are Gamzly's. I have a slightly different situation where, because I'm always doing content, everything I have is in this room where I'm sitting right now, my consoles and my PC, and I still use both even in this circumstance. So if feasible, if viable, I want to play with both. Next question,
There
please.
you go.
I downloaded 100 Heroes today, and I've obviously got a choice. It's on Game Pass. I could get it on the PC, I could get it on the Xbox, and I just fancied a bit of quick resume on that. It's not going to push my graphics too far, so, you know, different experiences, even in those, like, convenient circumstances. So, Drake Williams, good show, chaps. Thank you, Drake. Just a recommendation. If you liked Fallout, then go watch Silo and Three Body Problem for more sci-fi goodness. Yeah, Gamzly's a fan of the Three Body Problem books in particular, aren't you?
Yeah. It's Three Body Problem is very much it's much different than Fallout, but yeah, if you have a chance, please read the books. Please read the books. Just gonna say that.
Okay. Thank you, Drake, for
Thank you
like
for
that
the
whole
tip.
message. Much appreciated. Let's do one more,
Thanks,
please.
Drake.
And then we hit 10:30, and that's a convenient stopping time, I think. So Quicksilver has asked, Gamzly, did you play Star Ocean, the second story, either OG or R? What did you think?
I played the OG. I didn't play R. OG for me was such a I love the blend of sci-fi and the whole, secret stuff that I'm not gonna spoil, but I love that blend of themes and style. So I'm a big fan of that. I really thought of picking up the both versions on Switch. I think both versions are available on Switch, right? The R and the second story or whatever, or are they? There's two of them, right? That are remastered now, if I'm remembering. But yeah, I was thinking of getting the collection on Switch, and I'm gonna replay that as soon as I'm done with um, Fallout 1, which will probably be quick because I don't know if I have an enormous amount of patience to redo the whole thing. So as soon as I'm done with Fallout 1 and Eiyuden Chronicles, I'll hop into those.
Gamzly, do the Star Ocean games have sealed away deities?
Oh, fuck it. I don't remember nothing.
I'm
about
really
that
like,
story.
because Japanese RPGs in general, traditionally, I split them into two camps. They're either set in a high school, or they have a sealed away deity that's going to break through the seal and be the final boss of the game.
Oh, it's definitely
And
not in high
almost
school,
every
so-
JRPG falls in one camp or the other. Star Ocean is not a high school unless it's a space high school.
Yes.
Does it have a sealed away deity, or is it like a unique, doing like its own direction
Definitely
game?
not
In which
unique,
case,
my friend. Definitely not unique. But it definitely has some
Okay.
time stuff involved with it, so have fun with that.
I intend to have loads of fun with that. Isla said, she said Guru, which I think means I chose the wrong number of questions, but then she went silent, so I'm actually a little bit in the dark on whether there are critical questions that we should be trying to get to, or whether she growled and went away. Episode 13 has asked, though, there's another one at least. When the new Xbox console comes out, what games do you think can launch with it? I hate the way they collapse when I'm mid-reading them. Or what games should? Tricky question. Or they just go with a big Game Pass editions. Great show. So with the speculation being 2026, what games in Xbox's pipeline are going to be the showcase games for the 2026 Xbox hardware?
Elder Scrolls
Yes.
and a Halo. You launch with a Elder Scrolls and a Halo,
Yeah.
you've got yourself some serious movement on hardware.
Yeah, 2026 we're saying?
Or
Fable and Blade.
Quicksilver has just dropped a fantastic show. It won't happen because I don't think they'll get the exclusivity
Blade-
on it. But Quicksilver's
and-
just said Perfect Dark and Splinter Cell.
Oh. Yeah.
That would be good.
I would say I'm gonna lead with Blade. I'm gonna lead with Blade and Fable. I think Fable disappoints us and skips this year, obviously, and we get a Fable next year with the system.
I'm going to be
I
controversial and go
reckon.
with Half-Life Alex.
Oh, Half-Life fucking 15.
Yeah.
It's the VR one.
yeah, why not? Why not? That's my way
Purchasable
of
via Steam.
deflecting the question. And Isla, are there more? Should we do another one, or are we on outro time
I mean,
now?
we're going pretty quick. If there's another one, shoot it up.
I think Fable's a lock for this gen. By the way, I think Fable's a really important title for
It has to be.
Xbox this gen. Yeah, I think that's coming, and
Rotato
I'm excited
2.
about that. Like Playground
Yes.
Dodge.
Yes, Steph.
Wizards.
Steven or Stefan? Oh my god, I suck.
I go Steven. I hope
Steven.
I'm not wrong.
Stepin. Okay. I low key want them to surprise us and just like drop a New Vegas 2 for next year.
God,
Imagine Obsidian's like, we've been doing this for like 16 years, and you're like, oh my god. Anyways, that's just fantasy. All right.
Pete has asked, is it crazy that Jedi Survivor has come to Game Pass so quickly? Only seems like it launched a few weeks ago. It launched a year ago, Pete.
Yeah.
Time is moving
has
faster
flown,
than
to be fair,
you realise.
it's gone
Yeah.
very quick.
So no, it's not unusual. I think
we
it was
were
fairly
talking-
expected. Oh, go on.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, and like, how do we think? Well, in my own head, how do we think Xbox is gonna like handle that partnership, because it is being very big for them. Like they are getting a lot of games every year. You know, they get the pop of like this very situation, right? And EA is kind of hand holding them at this very moment. But how do they handle that partnership? Do you think they let EA go when they start pumping out these gigantic games in their pipeline?
Yeah,
like
it's a
Fable,
tricky
like
one,
Indiana
'cause-
Jones, like Avowed, like Call of Duty.
It has worked out. The partnership has worked out in their favor, because you look at something like Jedi Survivor coming out, and this has happened with a lot of EA games that have dropped into the service. When they land, people consider that they're landing on Game Pass, and you see like, oh, Jedi Survivor's come to Game Pass is how people put that. When reality is it's coming to EA Play, which is part of Game Pass, but it's also available separately and on other platforms. So it has really favored Microsoft to get that momentum. It helps people. It makes people feel like their Game Pass subscription is worthwhile. But EA did just a few weeks ago raise the price of EA Play as a standalone service, which, when you're paying a fixed amount for Game Pass Ultimate, raises a question on how that price impact is gonna ripple across over to the Microsoft side. So it's a good question. We obviously don't know the answer as to whether Microsoft will renew it or try and gracefully remove it from the service in favor of their day one games, because obviously they've got a lot more come in. They're getting their act together at last. So don't know the answer.
Drake Williams has just given us a quick heads up in the chat as well. So for anyone listening, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is 134 gigabytes on Series X. So yeah, make sure that you have planned space on your hard drive, which is something that I have not been doing. And I'm constantly struggling to pick the games that I need to delete, because they're all games I want to play, but I really want to play Survivor, so something's getting sacrificed. It may be Starfield,
And
actually,
it
because
may
that's
be
taking
my
up
potato.
a lot of space on my hard drive.
Hit the like button, guys. It really helps. Just do that.
Yes, if you can
Okay,
hit that
guys.
like button, if you're still listening after the fact as well, please do. And
Right.
obviously, if you're new here, subscribe and all of that good stuff. Please share the show out as well if you've enjoyed it and you've had a good time as well.
And shout out to racist, misogynistic Frankie. Don't
Thanks,
look him
Frank.
up, give him any attention whatsoever. Just have a little laugh at his expense, and we'll leave it at that. We're going to wrap up now. Like they said, thank you for coming through and listening to us and talking to us and all the rest of it, as you have been doing and as you do every week. It is so helpful, so appreciated to get that kind of support, which means that we can come back for another week next week as well. Deadly Headley, in the meantime, tell people what you're going to be up to, where they can find you.
So you can find me on my YouTube channel, Deadly Headley. I have got a relatively new video on there if you haven't seen that yet. It basically talks, again, if you've you've seen this podcast before, you probably know all of the news that I'm going to cover. But if I do say so myself, I cover it quite well. I'm pretty proud of that video. So yeah, go and check that out if you haven't already. Obviously, I'm here every Thursday on the Xbox Series podcast over at the Gaming Arcadia YouTube channel. You can also find me introducing some awesome games on Wandering Dutch's community indie showcase that we talked about earlier in the show this weekend. So that's on Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern, or 11 a.m. Pacific. And I am also on Chaos Auntie's show on Saturday morning.
Nice.
Or Saturday morning. Oh, what's that one? I'm really struggling with. I'm very, very new to doing the whole time conversion thing. By the way, I'm getting there. I did favorite this one. Give me 2 seconds.
Just do EST. It's
Actually,
all that matters.
so it is. Where are we? It is
FTW's
3
answer,
p.m. my
10 a.m.
time, so
EST.
it's 10. Thank you, FTW. So yeah, 10 a.m. EST or 7 a.m. Very, very early doors for the breakfast show on Pacific side as well. So yeah, I'm going to be on Chaos Auntie's channel this weekend on the Saturday, which I'm really looking forward to. So it'll be nice. Shout out to him because he listens to this and enjoys it, and it's part of the reason why he's invited me on. So thank you, mate. I appreciate that a lot.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a good show on a Saturday. Check it out if you can. Gamzly, talk to the people.
Okay,
Oh.
well, you could find me. Oh,
You're good. Your camera just greened out for a moment, but you're good. You're back.
did you burpee? Okay. So you could find me usually every single waking moment of every day in the Discord, pissing everyone off and having fun. So yeah, join the Gaming Arcadia Discord channel. It's a good time. Everybody's playing games in there, and we love to talk. Also, you can find me on this very channel, Gaming Arcadia, on this very podcast, Xbox Series podcast, every single Thursday at 3 p.m. EST. I'm not doing the translated stuff with time zones. You could do the math, all right? Google exists. And then every Monday at lunchtime at Double Barrel Gaming on breakfast with lunchtime with Boom. Oh my god. Something like that. Boom's show. Let's go. Just do that. Yeah, where I just talk a lot of crap and have fun.
Nice one. And you can find me here all the time. So Sunday's community games. We're going to get some Halo in because it's been a little while, and something less shooty to accompany it. I haven't decided yet. So get yourself in the Discord and you can have a say in what we play on the Sunday. I'll also be around this channel all the time and doing various podcasts Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course this one on Thursday. And soon we've got our Nintendo podcast starting on a Friday, so keep an eye out for that. And the Discord all the time, constantly talking in the Discord. Everyone there.
Nintendo podcast?
Oh my goodness,
Discord's
that
fun,
could be a
guys.
thing.
It's a really nice community there. We've also got a looking for group function now as well. So if there's a game that you're playing and you want some company, give one of those looking for group pages a shout, because chances are you'll end up with a very nice, very friendly squad to link up with. So yeah, do go and check that out and join us if you haven't already.
Absolutely. And that is us. So we will see you next time. Say something.
Thanks, Frank.
Blech.